Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 99 of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin. Who's with me tonight?
Michael X. Hughes.
And Bill, so close, yet so far away. Bill Tucker.
I had nothing for this one.
So close.
You didn't miss anything.
I'll mention it. All
right, and Mike, I can't remember, was this your pick or this Camino pick, or we just were stupid?
I think this was a quickly fill a slot pick.
Okay, because we loved X1. We had a great time playing X1, so we're like, you know what must be better? We got to play X2. So
should be twice as good. It's Mega Man X to the second power.
We're going to be talking about Mega Man X2 for Super Nintendo from
1994.
That's it.
Made by Capcom, of course. So, yeah, it's a game.
It's
no X.
Well, it is X. It's exactly X.
Oh, Mega Man X.
It's X with different little bits and bobs bolted onto it. This is an excellent game. It really is. Excellent. But one of your listeners, you post. So Michael, you always post on the Facebook, the Overblood Facebook page and other places for questions and comments and things. And because I know there's a section for that, but one of your commenters mentioned that Mega Man X2 is basically Mega Man X, but just a half step worse. There's a half step, and he's right. That's exactly what this is. He's spot on, and I didn't quote him properly, but it's Mega Man X2 is basically the same game. It's got the same assets, it's got the same art design, it's got some same moveset, it feels the same, it does all the things the same, but just almost everything not quite as good. And we'll go through it in detail, obviously. Like me personally, I think the bosses behave better. They're definitely more challenging.
Yeah.
And throughout this game, I was trying to really divorce myself from my love of X, because I've played X 30, 40. I don't know how many times I've played through X.
It's your favorite game.
It's my favorite game. It's my number one favorite game of all time. And I was trying to really say, okay, don't compare this to that. Even though you kind of have to. Like, you have to. That's what sequels are. But really, remember, like, I know X like the back of my hand. I can play that blindfolded. Could I do that well in X the first time? Right? And I definitely think this game is much more difficult than X2. Sometimes fairly, sometimes not. But this is a great game. I saw no complaints about it. It's just I felt it was a lot harder.
Well, this game really follows that whole format of, well, you played the first one, so we're going to give you a game that's like the first one, but harder with more tricks that you have to do. That's how this game
a running theme this season.
Yeah. It is harder, and it's just like it's not a reskin. It's like a DLC. It's like an expansion pack. Like, we have these wonderful bones of mechanics. So we're just going to build on the bones and give you 8 more robot masters and, a new set of bosses and a story literally no one cares about. No one should care about this. Why? No one should be writing fanfic for this.
Spoilers, it's Sigma again.
Yeah, spoilers. Zero comes back and Sigma again. Right? Yeah. Which is fine. We can talk about that too. But again, the nuts and bolts of this are so good, right? You take a platinum game that's just not perfect, but dang close, and then you just make another one on top of that. But it's like it's a bad analogy, but it's kind of like an isotope. It's like if Mega Man X is like uranium, like platinum, the half-life of this is X2. It's just degraded a bit, but it's still damn good. Not quite there for some reasons that, we will get into as we go through the game.
I mean, one of my problems, this game really requires you to dash in midair and do dash and then something, and then do another type of dash in order to get some of the items. And I am just not good at stuff like that, I know. So
I'm not great either. I had a really hard time getting a hang of it. And this is also part of the game too, and this is good in generalities. This game, its flow of suggested order, and that's always the thing with Mega Man, right? What's the suggested order? What order do you do the levels so you have the right weapon for the other boss? Just makes your life easier. I started hunting and pecking without even knowing suggested order, and after an hour, I was like, you know what? No, I need to finish this for a show. I can't. I'm a grown-ass man. The information's there. I'll do it that way.
There are only 2 you can easily beat in the beginning, I would say, with just a buster.
Yeah.
Wheel Gator and Wire Sponge. I mean, you can start with either one of those. I mean, Wheel Gator's an asshole, but you can start either one.
Wheel Gator sucks. I had the hardest time against Wheel Gator. We'll get to that.
You shouldn't start him first. I know Google suggested it, but you should start Wire Sponge first and then use Wire Sponge to beat Wheel Gator and keep going that way, because Wire Sponge is a pansy compared to Wheel Gator.
Yeah, no, Sponge is very straightforward. He's super easy. Yeah, Wheel Gator hard. My problem with the order is in Mega Man X, the order also allows you to get meaningful upgrades as you go. Right? You can get a sub tank pretty easily with your main skill set. You can get the heart containers, some of them, right? Then you have to backtrack a bit. This game, I didn't get the air dash until I think you get that in Ostrich, which is the next to last boss. And if you don't have the air dash, you can get nothing. Because you need air dash to get the X Buster, but you need the X Buster in order to get these things, but you need this weapon to get this thing, but you don't get that until you get the. I was like halfway through and I hadn't collected a single thing.
You're not gonna like X3 then, because there's a lot of backtracking in that one.
Which is fine on my backtracking, but you need to give the player meaningful upgrades as they go along if you're doing that suggested order. But I feel like they forgot about everything else and just said, okay, we need this weapon to kill this guy, this weapon to kill this guy. And even if you have that weapon, it's still not easy. It's definitely a challenge, which is good. I had a number of those moments where I was like, yeah, go eat it, Gator. Which was great.
You also played this legit, right? Mostly.
I played this legit. I played with no save states. I played this on the Legacy Collection on the Switch. So no save states. Yeah, so I kind of played it as legit as possible with as little help from a guide as possible. I did consult a guide towards the end to get my upgrades because.
Oh, you wouldn't have found them. I mean, that's the other thing. Like they are very well hidden. Find them? I mean, the simplest heart tank in this game is off screen. You can't even see it. You just jump up a wall and it's just right there. And you'll never, in your sponge level.
We'd never know that. Yeah, unless you really know. Yeah, unless you think this is Donkey Kong Country and you can do that. No.
That episode, was it last week?
Yes, last episode.
The helmet upgrade, you equip it and it kind of shoots out the little targeting thing and it shows you where secrets are, but you would have to spam that pretty much through every level to find this stuff.
Yeah, I never used that dumb thing because, again, I'm a grown-ass man in 2020. I have this thing called the internet. Those mechanics are neat, but see, the problem with that mechanic is, and again, we're kind of going through the different special weapons now too, which is good. We can do that now. There is a weapon or item where it'll help you guide you to where these secret things are. All right. But the problem with weapons like that is you have to break your flow of gameplay to utilize them. And that sucks because the fun of Mega Man is just moving forward and blasting things, right? It's the joy, the rhythm of that game is what makes it great. That's why Mario's good. There's a rhythm to it. You get into that platforming rhythm and it's really satisfying. But to just stop, select, wait for the thing to tell you where to go. It goes nowhere. Yay! Like
next screen.
Next screen, right? To really push at the edges like that. For me, wasn't very satisfying. The other big upgrade is the big, I guess, bonus item that's not from a boss. I forget where you even get them. Oh no, you get. That's right. They're the upgrades. Is the body armor that gives you the Super Saiyan AOE attack?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, though.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. I remember. I forgot it was there
twice, I used it once. I won terrible boss fight.
I used it to get the trophy for killing somebody with it.
Oh. Yeah, do you get a trophy for it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just any of you kill any boss with using that as the final
I never did. I kept forgetting it was there because again, I got my armor. I was like 3 bosses left, and I got the armor. So I did a lot of this with just the Buster and the recommended weapon, which again was fun because you learning the pattern and figuring it out and learning. That's the fun of games sometimes. And
say fun. I don't fun.
It was fun. I enjoyed it. I never got too frustrated. I never got like ragey frustrated, and I can sometimes.
Oh. I sure did.
You did? Yeah. Oh, I can't say. I had a few moments, especially with Wheelgator. I was like, really? But anyway, and then the final other upgrade we have, of course, our X Buster, which is standard equipment or standard upgrade.
Yeah, but it's not even like the same from the first game. Like in the first game, you just got a charge shot. In this game, you shoot a charge shot and you shoot a little shot afterward to follow up with it or something, depending on how long you charge it.
Yeah, it's strong.
It's okay.
It's less flashy.
It's the hardest thing about the X Buster, and this was a problem in X2 and the first X is that it takes so long to charge. So again, you have to stop your flow, or you have to keep holding down that button while you're moving. And if you're me, that always felt weird. Like there's a couple of the items that require you. Wheelgator's heart tank requires you to make that crazy jump and then do a flame across, like a flame dash.
Other ways to do it.
You know what? That's still sitting there. If I flip on my game, that thing, I died so many times.
3 ways to do it. 1, is you go up the ladder, you get an enemy to follow you, he hits you, you jump off the ladder as soon as you get hit, and then jump on the spikes. There's another way where you get this little like tank guy to keep moving more towards the left of the screen to shoot you, so you jump up, get hit, and then use that to jump off the spikes.
You use your invincibility.
So intuitive. Like, why didn't I think of that? I
had to take the controller and put it on the table, hold down the fire button. I'm not using my thumb anymore. I'm just using my fingers. Hold down the fire button and like jump, and then hit dash. And it took me multiple tries before I could get it, because you had to jump in the air, dash, and then as soon as your dash ended, hit your power up button. As soon as your power up button, then you got to start jumping, I think, or at least you just have to, or you'll land right there. Yeah.
It's a lot of thumb gymnastics to make that work.
It's
and
stupid.
The way you're supposed to do it again is that you're supposed to do a jump, air dash, and then at the very top of your air dash, let go the flame, and the flame will carry you the rest of the way to it. But it always felt just short, and the tax for failure is losing a life, and that's a rough failure tax for just a minor health upgrade. Really, maybe one hit. That's why after, I think, 15 minutes of trying, I said, non-optimal playthrough. Moving on.
It's like the sub-tank in Crystal Snail stage where you have to jump that giant gap, jump out of the right armor, then that.
Oh, yeah. That was not fun.
That one took me over 30 tries with save states before I could finally get it to work, because you just couldn't make it. Because you have to literally, the way to do it, you have to get in the right armor, you dash with the right armor, jump, and the right armor hovers across this hole, then you have to jump out of the right armor at the right time, then you have to hit your grappling hook ability that you have at the right time, and then as soon as that grappling hook grabs, you have to start jumping at the exact right time, or you won't make it up the hill and you'll die instantly.
That was tricky. I think I got through I think I got lucky, honestly, but no, that's a royal pain in the ass. And
like Bill said, that one's still sitting there for me.
I don't know how you.
I'm good.
I don't know how you get through this game without 4 sub tanks. Like, I don't get it. Like, I don't see how you can do it, especially towards the end with our 3 bosses in the row that when you fail forces you to play all 3 bosses in a row again.
Yep.
Which is bad. Like, you can't do that. Anyway, that's we'll get to that section, but
a couple things I do want to mention, like the map. I think the map looks cool that you start off with. It shows like different like buildings you're going, just like an X1. But I think I like this one maybe a little bit more than X1, like the map, not the game. X1's way better.
It's more detailed than the X1 map.
Yeah, it looks cool. Like, I like the fact that we mentioned Wheel Gator. You fight Wheel Gator in a fucking giant tank.
The dinosaur tank.
So good. Well, that's what was funny. When I was going through without knowing the suggested order, I'm going through and Bubble Sponge and this thing, and then I see Dinosaur Tank, and I'm like, fuck, Dinosaur Tank. That's the answer. Yes.
It's a Wire Sponge. The 8th boss should have been Dinosaur Tank.
Dinosaur Tank slaps. It's so good.
Animals that they use for some of these things. Like, it is some weird ass. Like, the only one in the first game that really is weird was Boomer Kwanger, because we don't have that beetle around here.
Right.
But there's some weird ass stuff in this one. Like, make the centipede.
4 has the mushroom, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right.
Well, I played this. So I played Wheel Gators a lot because this is where I did my refills, my post stage refill.
Oh, there's a trick to filling them.
Yeah, I know there's some tricks. I decided to just do it the way I do it, and not. Again, I was trying to do minimal. I was trying as minimal help as possible. So I just used this. I stood by the little the flying bird spawning. There's like a little hole that spawns birds every 2 seconds. They sat there and just hammering on X, and had a beverage next to me, and just I'll just sit here and hold X and just keep hitting X. And that's the way that
the way that I did it. The guy told me to. There's a spot where you use one of your power, where you charge it up. It brings things to Morph Moss power. When you charge it up, it brings a bunch of like garbage to you. If you go to a certain hidden room in Ostrich level, I think it's Ostrich, you just suck a bunch of health tanks. All of a sudden, just come out of nowhere every time.
Oh,
no idea why.
Okay.
Silk Shot is the weapon.
Silk Shot. Okay.
Yeah, is that the charge up for Silk Shot? Is that when the screen gets all wavy?
No, that's
I don't know what. And we'll talk about the different weapons too, because I don't like the weapons. I don't like the upgrades as much in this game. I think a lot of them are very esoteric. They don't really have much utility except for a final boss. I didn't really feel empowered to use it again because the way you play Mega Man is you just have your gun, and you just shoot and you walk forward, and it's fun. And that's the whole trick of it.
I play Mega Man.
That's how most people play it. Like, no one's really using the weapons midstream because you generally don't know what you need for the boss, so you want to hold on to everything as much as you can. I just feel like the weapons are that, and I don't think I thought the boss designs were probably better. The boss battles are better in X2 than X1, but I don't think the bosses themselves are terribly memorable. There's no Storm Eagle in this game, right? There's no Storm Eagle. There's no Chill Penguin, Bubble Sponge, or whatever the hell his name is.
Bubble Crab. Yeah,
Crab. Yeah,
they're way less menacing. We got a moth, a sponge, a crab, an ostrich, a centipede, a snail, and then
a moth. How am I supposed to be shook by a moth?
Why is there so many bug types? Why is it a sponge? I will never understand why someone said, you know what Boston should do in our second game? Let's do a sponge. And they just went, yeah.
I think someone lost a bet. So I can make any animal cool. It's like, okay, make a sponge. Damn it.
Okay, put them on a wire. No, it's fine. And yeah, so actually, we can actually back up really quick if we're going to start going through the levels. The intro level, after our story, 6 months later, there's Maverick Hunters. Fine.
There's a story to this.
Smash. Great.
Like Bill said, that no one cares.
No one cares. So we have this assault, and he's hunting down another robot. It's a decent opening stage. It's no intro. It's no 1-1 of X. Yeah, again, the X's 1-1 is perfect.
Oh yeah,
but this is fine. It's kind of just a lightweight little blast around. You use your weapon. You learn. You have your charge beam. The big victory this game has, is that you keep your dash boots from the beginning.
True. Yes.
It would have been horrendous. It's already stupid, and it's not. It's just the way the game works. It's just how games, it's the language of games, right? That you lose all your utility from the first game, right? It's like, what, he just take off his X armor and is like, I'm gonna leave this at home. I don't need it. It's kind of dumb. All right. But again, it's just like it's the Metroid problem, right? Why does Samus not have all the awesome upgrades from the previous game? What did you do? Sell them for scrap? Well, you had to pawn them because you had a rough month of no things to hunt. So you had to pawn off all your cool shit. Like, yeah, it's fine.
They explained it away a couple of Metroid games, like in Prime, where she gets hit by an explosion and everything gets damaged, and then in Fusion, which we'll talk about here next month, she loses her entire power suit.
Right. I know. And Fusion's. I got thoughts about Fusion. Fusion's fine.
Me too.
Fusion's okay. We'll talk. That's interesting. I played that through a couple times. Anyway, Fusion's okay. It's anyway. So, but having the dash boots is so crucial because if you can't play through Mega Man X and then spend most of your life in those dash boots and then come here and not have them, because that is your mobility. That's half your mobility. Or dash boots. It was smart to keep them. That was a very smart choice on their part. And then at the end of that, you fight a giant monolithic robot. Very straightforward. No real challenge here. Shoot him in the face, and that's it. What do you guys think of that opening level?
It's fine. It almost feels like they're like, okay, we need an opening level because X had one and people loved it. So here's a level.
It's pretty cool. You get to see him on that speeder bike that you get to actually pilot once and is slow. Why is that?
I just like how there is a name for that guy who gets blown up in the opening cutscene with him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't remember the name, but I know people have said he does have a name. Like he is. Yeah, they reference him in other things later on, I guess.
People. The fiction doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Not in Mega Man. No.
We don't need it. It would be great if it was just. Honestly, Mega Man would be better without it. Although I think Mega Man Legends, there's some fiction there, and it's actually pretty good. People love that game. I wasn't a PlayStation kid, so
you listen to us talk about it in a few months.
Yeah.
Oh, are you doing Legends? Yeah,
it's coming
February.
Very cool. Anyway, so yeah, that's the first level, and then we get to our main map, which we start off. We'll just do, I guess, just suggested order. I guess I think that would be the best.
Yeah, we kind of we talk most about Wheelgator, but what I do want to say about him still we haven't said is that boss fight really irritated me because he keeps diving in the oil and he just wouldn't. I'm like, and you can't hit him when he's in the oil, and you sit in the oil like I did once to see what happened. He just jumps up and bites you and then goes back in the oil after he hurts you.
Yeah,
I was not happy.
It's like every boss has invulnerability to him, and his is by far the most egregious.
Yeah.
You can chain him. If you keep hitting him with the chain just right, you can keep hitting him constantly and he won't go do anything. He'll just die.
Yeah, you can get him into a lock. But again, if you're doing a suggested order, you don't have anything. This boss is very challenging. It took me dozens, I would say, tries to really get the pattern down and really get it correct. He takes a lot of damage. So his attacks take a nice chunk out each time. You don't have much life, obviously. It's a very interesting, and he changes pattern halfway through, and a lot of the bosses in this game do. I like that. I always think that's an interesting monkey wrench, even though it now breaks you out of your pattern, and you now have to learn a new one, and you're going to die. Like, you're just going to. So I end up replaying a lot of these levels over and over again, just because, if I use half of my, and half of the suggested order's weapon power, and I don't have any left, well, I'm going to die. So I guess the way I always approach these is I would do the first couple of tries with nothing. Just get the pattern down. Let me just learn the pattern, and then I'll find my openings to use the weapon or fire or shoot. So, but he's very interesting. He throws his his wheels of death. His metal blade wheels of death.
He's no Metal Man weapon. That's
he's no Metal Man. When none thing in this game, they've really mitigated the time-honored tradition of just jumping in the corner and figuring things out. You can't do that in this game for most of these bosses. Yeah, it's very tricky.
His death wheels will climb up the wall after you if you try and stick up there.
Yeah, they climb up the wall after you in different speeds. So she'll throw one at a slow speed that you can just wall jump off of pretty easily. The second one's fast. And when you wall jump off and fall, that's when he jumps up underneath you and grabs you. So your precision has to be spot on.
You can, after the first blade, dash back and forth in the oil, and he won't grab you long as you don't stop dashing.
Okay. See, I always felt like whenever I was in the oil, he got me. So that's why I felt like I needed to stay up for that. Okay.
You're supposed to. I mean, it was very close every time. Like, I would dash and he'd come up right up there. But as long as you don't stop dashing, you'll be okay. But it's not.
And then and then when he's on the ground, he'll toss his blades in in a bouncing pattern, and those are tricky too because I always felt they would bounce on the ground twice, and those are pretty easy to dodge. But then they'd hit the wall and fall in random ways. They would never sometimes they'd fall outwards, some they'd fall straight down.
And also, when he does a full spiral attack, he can damage the wall. So if you get too close and touch the wall, you'll get hurt.
Yes, and was it hurt or dead? Was it
It's just hurt.
It's just hurt. Okay, so the one time I did hit it, I must have just been low on, because I was gonna say, if he hits the wall and you hit that, if that was instant death, that is an egregious crime.
Oh yeah, that's just
that you
cruel.
Need to be arrested for. No final boss. No boss should ever have an instant death. Sorry, no one should. Does Bubble Crab have one?
In the refight, he does. He has spikes in the ceiling.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's no good.
This game is just, let's crank up the difficulty. You already played X. You are right. It does kind of just like an add-on to X versus a new game where they're trying to, get you roped in to learn the controls. They just expect already.
It's an iteration. It's like I've said with a lot of games, so I think they're close to perfect. Like Tetris. Like Tetris is a perfect game. And I don't know if I've said this before on this show or not, but Tetris is perfect. Because you can't improve it. You can only iterate upon it. You can only tack things on to perfection, and those tack-ons may work or not work. But you can't make Tetris better, and you can't really make Mega Man X that much better. You just you just iterate upon the formula, and the iterations just degrade a little bit. That's all, and it's a small degrade because again, this is an excellent game. Yeah, that sucks. That's egregious, and the reason that's egregious, I might want to save this for Bubble Face, but the reason this is egregious is that I always feel that bosses, and I've probably said this as well on this show, but bosses are quizzes on what you just learned. They're quizzes, and that's what it is. Imagine taking a test at school where you get graded, right? If you get things wrong, you lose points, right? But there's one question that if you get this wrong, you fail. No matter what you did, everything right. You get this one thing wrong, you fail. That sucks, and that's not fair. That's what this is, because you do that because you're gonna learn by hitting it by mistake or whatever. Bubble Crab, for example, at least they signal this is death, and I saw that. I was like, oh boy, that's
only the second time you fight them. The first time there are no spikes, but
so I just went on a tear for no reason because I guess that isn't it's an instant death.
Mega Man 7's a little meaner because the Burst Man in that one has spikes on his ceiling the first time you fight him.
Which one now?
Burst Man and Mega Man 7.
Oh really? See, that's no good.
He'll trap you in the bubble and send you up.
Nope. That is an unfair failure tax. Anyway, but yeah, he's tricky, but you get the wheel upgrade, which is pretty useless in combat, except for your second boss. Again, it's so slow. There are so many there's so many weapons in this game that are slow.
Oh yeah, it's real slow.
It's
good for mini bosses though. You just have to jump up and shoot it inside of them.
Right. Yeah. The
Okay,
mini boss.
yeah. There's too many of them. From some levels have too many bosses. I'm just like, why am I fighting so many mini bosses?
I didn't think it was that bad. I didn't honestly. I didn't.
And then
I
they
thought
add the X Hunters to the mix too. So
I didn't see them in this game. What are you talking about?
we didn't really talk about that. There's also 3 because this does come up here. There are 3 X Hunters. What are their stupid names? It's Agile,
Surges, and Violin.
Violin. You can just tack on the T. You really don't have to like.
Man, he's the worst.
Which one is? Oh, that's a fat guy with the.
Yeah, he's
tank.
the dude with the mace.
Oh, he's terrible.
Yeah.
We'll get there. You can fight them throughout the stages, and if you do fight them, you get parts to 0, which you have to fight all 3, and they randomly teleport between levels, and they're in a secret room or a hidden room in the same level. Sometimes you need powers to get to that room. Sometimes, a couple of them you do. And if you go to their level and you don't access them, they disappear. Then you'll miss out on that. All you get if you get all 3 of Zero's part is you skip a boss fight in the end of the game.
Yeah, you skip fighting 0, right?
Yeah,
but you also get 3. The 3 boss fights with them are. Besides the fat guy Violin, they're different fights. Violin is close to the same, but a little different because you don't have blocks to protect you from his ball and a massacre. So
yeah, I found 2 of these just through the course of playing, and I failed epically at both. I found Agile and I found Violin, and I just got annihilated within 30 seconds. So I decided very quickly, I'm like, okay, I bet you I can just fight these guys later. I don't think. And the idea that the narrative hook for this is that they're going to reassemble Zero is the goal. They're going to reassemble Zero and turn them to the side of the X Hunters. So the idea is that you have to go and try to get the parts from them before they can do so.
Well, this was also, I think, a tease. So some people thought maybe you get to play as Zero if you get all 3 Zero parts.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
That's how I would have taken it as a kid.
Yeah, I guess.
I didn't play this game as a kid because I did not. It was rare. Like I don't think we haven't mentioned this yet. This was a rare game even back in like the 2000 era. Like this game is worth a lot of money now if you have it.
Really?
Not as much as 3, which I had. I had 3, and a quote unquote friend of mine stole it from me. So fuck you, Adam, if you're listening, dick. I had this and Harvest Moon 64, and all of a sudden, one day, they were just gone.
I had a friend steal my Game Shark and my Pokemon Red or Blue.
Oh, man. Cold-blooded.
It's 125, anywhere from 90 to about 150 for a loose cartridge for Mega Man X2 on eBay right now.
Wow, okay. It's not that good.
Yeah, it's a rare game. It's not like X1 is common. X2 is not. Like, I have a funny story that I'll bring up real fast. A friend of mine a long time ago was trying to buy Mega Man X2. This is probably like early 2000s. He was trying to buy X2 on eBay, and he won the bid, but he didn't have a credit card. He was going to use my mom's credit card and pay us cash. And I was like, I really didn't like it. So I'm like, I just told her, we changed our mind. I just said, yeah, you didn't win the bid because he was using my computer and stuff. And I always remember that. Always stuck with me. Now I feel kind of bad. I think it was a good deal, but to me, I'm like, that's too much for a game. Like, who cares about X2?
Wow. Okay. Hey, listen, acceptance, healing comes from admission, it's fine. Man, that's cold-blooded. All right,
well, anyway. Therapy couch here.
Yeah, seriously. So, how have you carried this through you? Do you feel like it's affected your relationships at all? Like,
we don't talk anymore. But could because he lives in Texas. I think he lives in Texas now. I don't remember. Hey, he came to my wedding though. Does that count? That's the last one.
Yeah. So all things forgiven. It's a video game. Despite the Legacy Collection, they actually look really great, and they play well too.
And X3 is like $200, over 200 on eBay right now.
Jesus. All right. Well, hey, listen. You know what? People collect things, and that's fine. Wherever you find your joy in life, don't let me steal it. Just don't make me pay that much for it.
Luckily, Capcom likes money, so they, like you said, the Legacy Collections. They had the X Anniversary Collection way back when for the PS2 era.
I'm glad there's more ways to get this game than paying some scalper, because if you pay $200 for this game, you're an idiot. So,
listen, spend your money how you like. I don't begrudge people for it.
If you're going to spend $200 on a game, at least buy a good game for $200.
This is an excellent game, as I've said. This really is.
Buy a fun game. How about that? A game that won't kick my ass and make me cry. Like, a good game.
Game does really kick your ass. So let's move on to let's move on to Bubble Crab, which is next in the suggested order.
He's a crab. His level is kind of cool, but again, this is another instance where I want to say the heart tank and the energy tank are both like off screen completely. The energy tank especially, you'd have to know to jump up at a certain spot with a charge attack in order to find it.
With his own charge attack, you have to come back with Bubble Crab's weapon.
You have to backtrack.
Like energy tanks should, like heart tanks and stuff like that, they should be visible, but like off, like just where you just miss them, not where let's just jump randomly around the level and see what we find.
Yeah, it should be like, how do I get that? Not where the hell is this thing?
Yeah, and then that's I wouldn't even know how the hell people figure out this first time without lots and lots of trial and error.
That had to have been like, I beat this whole game legit as a kid or whatever I was when it came out. No idea how. No idea.
I mean, I actually played this game. I played the first 2 levels right after we beat X a few months ago, or however long ago that was. And I'm like, I'm done. I was like, I'll play this when we do it for the show. Yeah,
and this is also the level 2 where I believe they had the this is where you can use that silk shot to grab a bunch of power-ups, I think.
Yeah.
But you have to go through a random hole in the wall at the beginning that I remember going into. I was like, ooh, I found a secret like false wall. This is neat. You walk in and there's nothing. There's nothing in there. And we're looking around like, something should be here. All right. And clearly after doing the research, seeing it's like, oh, that's what that thing is supposed to do.
It's the only game to have those kind of rooms.
Yeah, right. I don't remember.
Brought them back.
No, good, because I mean, it's fine. It's kind of stupid.
I didn't. Yeah, that happened to me a few times too. I was like, what the hell? I didn't have fun during this game.
No, me neither.
I just beat it quickly.
Spoilers for Shelfer Bucks. It's not looking good.
No, it's not.
Fine. I mean, it's fine. The bubble crab stage is it's fine. It's got that like big fish that follows you throughout. That throws all sorts of different attacks at you. Pretty cool. I enjoy like fighting a large. There's a sense of urgency. No, it's no launch octopus, but there's a cool sense of urgency as he's kind of lumbering along, and I'm thinking like, do I have to kill this thing to get a thing? And you don't. You just don't have to.
Yeah, I like fights though where you're systematically taking out parts of a big thing.
I do. Yeah.
Making it.
It's fun. It's because it's a good visual representation of success. That's not just a flash, especially if the enemy doesn't have any health meter. Because then if there's no health meter, then how in the world do you know what you're doing? Like, even the final stupid face of the game.
Oh God!
Stupid wire face. At least he has a that kind of visual representation. So it's always cool. It's fine. I like in X games floating water stages are fun for me. Again, you trade one bit. We trade back and forth mobility to a certain extent for jumping and leaping, which I think is really fun. The stage itself's not hard. It's pretty standard stuff. Bubble Crab himself,
he's kind of a dick.
Kind of a dick.
You can cheese him real easy though. If you jump over him and then jump back, shoot him, jump over him, he'll just keep doing the one attack over and over again. Nothing will happen.
Well, the number one thing with Bubble Crab is you have to make sure you get rid of you prevent him from creating his bubble babies. If he makes bubble babies, you are in really bad shape because now you've limited your ability to jump. And when you do jump, he is very good at just sucking you down with his suction top. So you really need the weapon from the gator. The spiny wheel is definitely the way to go because that'll cut his bubble every time and prevent him from making bubble babies.
I have no idea what you were talking about.
The wheel kind of sucks for him too because like it'll hit him and then he's got his iframes. And by the time he's out of it, usually it's already rolled on past him.
You can sometimes catch him twice.
Right.
It is not great. The best thing sometimes to do for this guy is to throw it, cut the bubble, hit him once, and then you can switch out to your X-Buster, and it's gone. Yeah, that's really it. But there's really no reason else to, because he doesn't really throw anything, if I remember correctly, that can be harmed by your regular weapon. So the trick for it is just a battle of attrition to hopefully not get to that point where, get rid of that. So he doesn't throw that bubble. Bubble sucks.
Yeah, he's an asshole.
Yeah, it just took me a number of tries too. But again, the stage is so slight and pretty straightforward that it wasn't a big deal to go back and back and back.
I didn't have that problem. But
I did a lot over and over and over again. And no save states for me. So I just did it over and over and over again.
If I didn't use save states, I wouldn't have finished this game. I would have gave up a long time ago.
Gents, I was so close. So close.
You tried, though.
I did. I gave my best. It was. I'll tell the story later on when we get to that point. But yeah. So after Bubble Crab, anything else on Bubble Crab?
No.
The music's not bad.
The music's a good point. The music, for the most part in this game, is really good.
What music?
The music's great.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We're just going to be in the music corner, Mike. You can kind of occupy yourself.
Mike is the king of playing games with no music. You do realize that the soundtrack of a game is vital for how much fun it is, like because it does propel forward.
It was on. I had the music on, but I think I just didn't. I wasn't listening. Well, one, when you're saving and loading all the time doesn't help either.
Yeah, that's fair.
There's two things I love about this show. Well, there's more than two things, but one of my two favorite things about this show is Mike's unashamed love of save states and cheating. He's no care. He's just like, I don't care. Just get me through this thing. Like,
what would Ninja say about me? I'm only cheating myself, right? Wasn't that?
That's right. Yeah, Ninja. Yeah, God, I remember that, man. Oof. Hey, Ninja. You know what you should have done? Practice more for your appearance on The Masked Singer, because you were bad, my dude. Yeah, that man has nothing to say. My wife and I and kid are huge fans of The Masked Singer because we're corny, and he was on The Masked Singer a couple seasons ago, and he was bad. He was the first one to get kicked off. He was bad. Anyway, it was great. Anyways, number one.
It's like, what were we talking about?
Oh, I know exactly what I was talking about. Mike, the things I love about him. A, your unabashed love of save states, and two, the fact that you could care less about game music. You don't ever, you never care about a game soundtrack. And you have no shame about it. You just, I don't care. That's how I am.
I do like Xenogears soundtrack, which we will someday talk about on the show. But that's because it's games that I played as a kid. Those are the ones that make me care about the soundtrack. Like I'm Chrono Trigger, but anything like later on, once I became an adult, give a shit. It's weird. Okay.
That's fair. And I love the fact that you're just that's how it is. No qualms. Yeah, devil may care attitude. Compare it to this game.
Mike not caring about music is probably more accepted than me typically not caring about story in games.
Oh, is that
that's like a fundamental chunk of playing a game is you gotta experience the story. I'm like, I just want to shoot things and beat people up and whatever.
And I respect that. Play is important. Play is extreme. How it feels in your hands is always more important than a story, in my opinion. Unless you're playing
that David Cage. We know you're listening to this.
Yeah, David Cage. If you want to make movies, just make movies. Just make movies. You can. A lot of people make movies.
The show.
I know. I listened to that.
We had somebody who worked at Quantic Dream that was on the episode.
I listened to the episode of Heavy Rain and how much you guys were gushing about it, and I'm like, well,
it's thorough.
You're allowed to like things. Okay, so anyway,
Mike, I knew who we're having for Beyond Two Souls whenever we do that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I've never played another.
I've never played it either.
Beyond Two Souls is good. It's better than Heavy Rain. It's also more gameplay than Heavy Rain, and I never played Detroit Become Human. Yeah.
And this is a huge aside. I like walking simulators. I actually considered doing a podcast all about walking simulators because I think they're interesting in what defines gameplay, like what makes a game. What level of interactivity do you have to have in order for something to be called a game? Or I don't like calling them walking simulators. I call them story-based interactive experiences because that's what they are. Are they games though? Because you don't play. Like there's what the hell is that dumb one? That one I really don't like that people like for some stupid reason.
I never sit down.
Yeah, Dear Esther. Like Dear Esther.
Yeah.
I've never played Dear Esther. Yeah,
it's not good. It's not good. There's literally no interaction. You can't even pick up a soup can. Like you just walk.
You ever play Life is Strange?
No, but that's more of a Telltale game.
Yeah,
that's different. That's not a walking simulator in my opinion.
You're right. What remains of Edit Fitch? That's a walking simulator.
That's wonderful. That is a phenomenal intersection of story and gameplay, of non-traditional gameplay. That's probably the best.
Before we get back on track, one last walk simulator I do want to mention that's coming out soon, Summerland. That's on Steam. I actually have been talking to the developer, which might be on an interview hopefully on the show.
Neat. Is it a walking sim or?
It's a walking sim, yeah.
Cool. I'd love to play
it. It's also free on Steam, so it's even more more
even
interesting.
Better. I love walking. I've played most of them. Most of the biggies that are out there I played. I really do enjoy them. They're little snacks of games. And I only have time for little snacks, so that's perfect for me. Anyway, let's get back to the game. I apologize for the bag question.
That's all right. People know what they're getting into for this show.
Yeah, exactly. Flame Stag is next on the list.
I like Flame Stag. I want to say his level is cool. You're in a volcano. I mean, that was cool. I like him a lot. He's my favorite of this set of bosses.
Yeah, I don't really remember much of him, to be honest.
Simple. If you use the bubble crab, you just hit him with the bubble crab. He throws a fireball at you. You hit him with the bubble crab, and you just continue doing that. He dies. Oh yeah, you can get him in a loop. Yeah, you can get him in a pretty good loop. He's pretty straightforward if you have the main weapon, and it looks cool. I like his ears, his fire ears. I'm here for that. Fine. You can because I've seen Buster only fights where they climb the wall with him and shoot him and go back and forth. Like you can have some pretty cool fights in this with him.
Yeah, got a lot of verticality in the Mega Man X boss fights.
Yeah. You really don't. But it's cool. For some reason it's my favorite fight or my favorite boss in this game. I don't know why, but I like it.
Yeah, because he's easy. Because you could choose a level crab weapon.
He was easy, yes. Yeah, he's fine.
It's fine.
Better than some of the other ones. Like, what's next then on the list?
Morph Moth.
Yes.
Morph
The moth.
That level. Okay, that level has two of the same mini boss. For what reason? There isn't one. Just a fuck you, player. That's all it was. Just you're gonna fight the same boss twice.
He's the one I like. Use the wheel gator, the wheel for.
You're supposed to. I did
Get it just right. You can hit the core of that stupid robot he's in.
Actually, yeah. Oh, I didn't. The core of the robot wasn't too bad. I just used X-Buster, but if you use the fire, you can take out the little guy that comes out in one shot. So you just have to take out the robot once, and then when a little, I guess, morph thing comes out.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell that thing's supposed to be.
I don't know. It's like a head crab. It's kind of like jumps on your head and forces you to do things. It's kind of like the game Inside. Or was it Inside or Limbo that had the head thing? Yeah, Limbo.
Limbo had the parasites.
The head parasites. Kind of like that. Instead of introducing fascinating.
What's that game? Mike loves Limbo.
Limbo's garbage.
Oh, you are out of your mind. Limbo is amazing, and Inside is glorious. I actually might like Inside a little.
Weird.
Inside's better, right?
Inside.
I really like Limbo. I played it twice.
I think Inside's better, honestly, a little bit, but Limbo is wonderful. Yeah, come on.
Yeah, Limbo.
That's all right. Again, like I've said 100 times, you're allowed to like things and dislike things. Yeah, you can take out the mini boss pretty easy with that. I didn't try the wheel. I just kind of took him on, but he's pretty slow and lumbering. He kind of does that T-Hawk jump and diagonal attack, if I remember correctly.
T-Hawk.
Yeah, basically that's what he does. I love the design of this level. I think that this might be my favorite level design just from aesthetics. I just love the idea of a giant graveyard of robot parts. Really cool, like very, very neat kind of presentation. Yeah, I really enjoy the aesthetic of this level.
Yeah, I mean it's junkyard, so it's fun to tear things up.
Yeah, just big old piles of stuff. I love it. It has a neat aesthetic to it. I appreciate.
I hate this whole level. I hate the boss fight. It's annoying because the boss fight starts off as like a little cocoon thing hanging there, bouncing back and forth. You got to shoot with the flame stake weapon, and then he picks up garbage and throws garbage at you.
But it really fits with the aesthetic of the level, right? It's kind of like its job is to kind of collect all this robot junk and throw it into its robot junk piles that go off for infinity.
And then he blows up the ceiling of the level, and he hatches into a moth. And then he flies at you, and he does so much damage if he touches you.
Yeah,
I mean that was a lot of damage.
It's tricky. It's tricky when it turns into a moth. But again, if you're using the flame, it's pretty easy to knock him out. And yeah, because when you use the flame as he's hanging from his little thread, it's a very unique boss. I like this boss a lot. He's challenging, but he's interesting, and I love. There's 2 stages of him, which never happens. At least to this point in the series, like 2 levels of boss fight.
Except for Sigma.
Well, of course, Sigma, right? He's always got 18 levels to him. But just for a regular, think about it, for our regular boss, like I love Storm Eagle because it's a big, expansive level, right? It's different. It's not just a box. I love the fact that there's these 2 stages to him. He's really cool, and I do like the fact when you hit him on his little string with the with the fire, he gets all toasty. So poof.
Very
his little eyes on this little black, like little toasty little dude. I like that. It's very cute.
Turns into the Venomoth, the Pokemon, because he's got Psybeam and Stun Spore for his attacks.
All right, I literally know nothing about Pokemon. I know there's 3 of them. There's a Charmander, there's another lizard dinosaur, and then there's Pikachu. That's okay. Literally and you start off with, right?
I was gonna say, like, you only think there's 3 Pokemon. Well,
I actually have Pokemon the Switch with a Sword and Shield.
Yep.
I'm sitting by. I have a friend who just gave me 4 games. He's like, here, just have them. Like, do I have to give them back to you? He's like, nah, I'm done with them. So one day I'll play Pokemon for the first time in my life.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah,
Sword and Shield are good too. So
I don't know if that's a good way to jump into the series for the first time. I don't know if it requires continuity. Just maybe one day play it. Yeah. Anyway, I like this boss quite a bit. I think he's very interesting, and the challenge fun ratio is there for me. Yeah, it took me a few tries, but yeah, I was able to. The only thing I don't like, and I don't know if there's a way to defeat this, is when he's hanging from his little rope, he has this spinning junk attack that circles the entire level.
You can avoid it.
How do you avoid it? Because I could not.
The speedrunners went around in the circle really fast.
Yeah.
So you have to
air dash over top of them.
So you have to have the thumbs and reflexes of a 12-year-old.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I figured. That
It's not because I did the same thing. I just took the hit. I'm like, I don't understand how. But yeah, I watched speedruns and they dash around him. But you have to know what's coming too. You have there's a couple things in this game where you have to act immediately as soon as it starts, or you won't make it out.
And you need to have the air dash, which I didn't have at this point. You're doing suggested order. You cannot get air dash. Air dash, you get air dash at Ostrich, I think, right? Am I wrong?
I think so. Something like
Also,
that.
Late.
I should mention that as I've been looking this up, there are multiple orders that you can do this in besides the order that we're talking about. Like, there's other orders people say you can do it this way. You can do it this way. Like, this game is weird like that.
No, that's good, and that's again. If you're just hunting and pecking, it's always best if you have a boss to have multiple ways to attack it, to approach it. Like, I don't like the fact that the only way to avoid damage from this boss is to get to have an item that I don't have yet through no fault of my own, because I don't have the required stuff to get the item. You know what I mean? And
that's why, like you said, the perfect way. This game's like DLC for the first game. It's a whole nother, like, because it's such an added difficulty, to X. And that's my biggest problem with this game, where X felt very hand-holding and nice and, just enough of challenge. Where this game was like, you already played X, you beat X, we're going to beat the shit out.
Right. And that's the assumption you have played X. And again, that suggested order of X is not an easy mode, but it's a balanced mode. And even if you don't go that way, like you did, Mike, like in X, you played the entire game with the X Buster. Like, you did not use any of the weapons and you were fine. Like, you were able to take on the challenges.
It didn't work out so good in this game.
No, you cannot. Like, you can't. Like, I can't imagine you going through X Hunter stages without like the full armor and everything. Like, I can't imagine that. But anyway, people do, because people got time on their hands. And good for them.
Yeah, speedrunners do all the time. Watch a bunch of it.
It's fun. I love that stuff. Anyway, so Morthmoth I like, Mike hates. Michael, I think you're indifferent.
You can wall dash jump over top of him without using the air boots. But
okay.
It's one of those pixel perfect things. And also, if you avoid his attacks long enough when he's in the cocoon, he'll eventually grow big enough and burst down on his own.
Really?
Yep.
That's neat.
There's a trophy for that in the Legacy Collection, too.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
And keeping with the garbage aesthetic, finding the armor piece is real stupid, because you have to use Wheelgator's weapon to destroy part of the floor.
That's right.
Again,
it has no hints, right?
None whatsoever.
There's no visual hint to it. Yeah, there's no like cue. You just have to like if you want to spend the entire time like mowing the lawn, just like with your little wheel, then you never know. Or if you use your very slow, very very painstakingly slow search helmet, and you can probably do it that way as well.
Yeah,
but
again,
you can't
I
get
don't
the speed.
the fact that it's that. Like, this should be able to have some kind of hint that you see, and then you use your thing, your helmet to figure it out. Nothing. There are no visual cues, and that kind of pisses me off.
Yeah. I forgot I had the helmet, but again, didn't need it.
X3 kind of mitigates it because the helmet tells you on the overworld map how many things are in the stage and what you've got. And then when you go into the stage, it shows you like a vague layout of the map and shows little ticks where stuff is.
Oh, that's cool. Good. Yeah. That's definitely easier and just more approachable. That's cool. You just do it like Breath of the Wild. Think 25 years in advance and say Breath of the Wild has a little dot that goes bink, bink, bink when you get close to a shrine. Ooh, there's a shrine coming. You just walk in the shrine's direction. And you don't have to follow a dot. You're discovering, you're hunting for these things. It's sometimes hidden. And it's fun and engaging and interesting.
I like to think every time you bring up Breath of the Wild, Mike's blood just boils just the tiniest bit.
I'm sorry, y'all. We were going on so many tangents, but it is.
Yeah, no, I thought this would be a short episode. We're an hour already in almost.
I know we're going on so many tangents. Feel free to cut a lot of these out. I'm sorry, guys. Breath of the Wild might be the greatest Zelda game ever made. Sorry. I'm really sorry. I apologize.
It's a good game. It's not a great Zelda game, but what is a Zelda game?
We can get into that argument and spend the next 3 hours. So let's move on to the next creature in our
Magnus Centipede.
Why is a centipede again like the sponge? Who was getting around going, we should make? I think a centipede would be a great idea for a boss. Did they just run across the wall or something? The guy's like, Okay.
You know what? Centipedes suck because guess what? If I've already said I live in Texas, and there's this thing called a Texas centipede, and I promise you, it's this giant centipede that's multicolored and it's like venomous and terrifying. And it looks like you should be throwing bombs into its mouth, a la Zelda. Like that's the only way you can eradicate this creature from your home. And I've already said to my wife, if that thing shows up in our house, I'm moving. Like I'm leaving. There's nothing. We're putting the house on the market. If the Texas centipede shows up, so for me, that's pretty
right.
effective.
That does look like that thing is huge.
It's not good.
I'm not even doing this to myself. Nope, not looking that up.
Let's say it's like the length of somebody, like they have somebody's arm, and it's the length of the guy's arm, like from his hand to his elbow. Like,
so it's like the ones from the King Kong game?
Not that big, but yes. It's big. Man.
I don't know. I like Magna Centipede's design, at least. I think he looks cool.
I think it does, yes. I agree. But there are, there's like two, is there too many bosses or one? I forget.
Two. There's a saber.
Oh god, yes. Okay.
And then there's the stupid enemy that will like scan you if you set off the alarm right before and get really hard.
Yeah, the weird turtle-looking thing.
Yeah, which I actually like his design too. He's pretty cool.
It
reminds me of the one in front of the armor capsule in the first game.
Oh yeah.
Stage. I think it's just the color palette similar.
I have a question about Magna Centipede is, since you're already at the final level, why don't you just break the floor and go down and fight Sigma? He's already here.
Oh, well, I'll get to that too, which was very confusing.
That really irritated me that they reused the beginning of this level as the template. Like that pissed me off.
Very dumb choice.
They used up all the memory on the wireframe stuff, which they had to have like a special chip. I had it here, the CX4 chip.
Really? So they put in it. Okay.
Yeah, so which means this game costs a little bit more when it first came out.
So they put in this stupid chip for a stupid sword and a stupid head.
Yep,
that's it. That's all you see wireframe in this game, if I remember correctly.
Neither of those should be in this game.
No, neither. The sword is stupid. I like the sword. I use the bubble splash because you get so many hits, and he doesn't really have
iframes.
iframe. Thank you. He doesn't have an iframe, so you can just stack up the damage, and he's pretty straightforward. It's just stupid. Like I'm fighting a dumb floating sword. Like why this says no what? This is a 20XX. We shouldn't have flying swords. We don't need swords anymore. Well, I guess Sigma had a lightsaber. Yeah, lightsabers are fine. Yeah, at this stage I had to go through this stage dozens of times. Dozens. Like I could probably do this stage now in my sleep. Because
you kept running out of flame stack energy trying to get the E-tag?
Yeah, that. And I had a hard time kind of getting the patterns down. I kept getting crushed by blocks. This level has a problem because so at first you have this kind of pseudo stealthy thing where you're avoiding spotlights by hiding behind, or avoiding spotlights by either hiding behind geometry in the level or just avoiding spotlights. If you hit the spotlight, the turrets come out and they start wrecking on you. Not too shabby, not too bad. But then you get to this weird block sliding thing, which there's these giant crates that are either falling at not random, but at specific patterns, but there's no signaling to what the pattern is. So I died a number of times on this until I figured out exactly what it was. And it's the thing in platforming where if you don't have enough information ahead of time, your deaths feel cheap. So which requires success through death and iteration. And I know people like that, like roguelites are like that, right? The idea is you're supposed to fail. It fails many. You just keep failing until you figure it out. But I think in this instance, it doesn't work as well because, again, the failure tax is pretty high starting over.
Uh-huh.
I did this level numerous times. Again, too many bosses. I got really good towards the end because with the boss we're talking about, the second turtley looking thing that's all crunched together from different bits of robots just pieced together, you can avoid getting scanned. But you just have to just fly across the level. And I actually got pretty good at just only getting scanned once. And if you only get scanned once, he's really easy. Because the idea is that the more he scans you, the harder he is. Because the more he learns what you can do and what you're vulnerable to. So if you don't get scanned 3 times, he is very straightforward, really easy. Because he only has a couple of basic attacks.
Yeah, I got scanned like 5 times the first time. I set off the alarm and I just had to say, fuck it, I'm done.
Yeah, the trick is you just don't set off the alarms. The hardest alarms are the ones in the vertical section where you're dropping down. And again, I played this level probably 30 times. Just challenging. And I was able to get through it, which felt good. It felt like I was mastering. See, Mike, I know you want to cheat through everything, and that's fine because no one's got time. Time is money. But there is really a great dopamine.
The way I do.
There's a great dopamine hit of mastery and like getting through a level like really fast. Like I now own this thing. I can just get through it and then get to the end. But it's okay. I'm with you sometimes.
But at the same time, if you don't get that satisfaction of being able to do something you were struggling with, then it really behooves you to just cheat and get it over with.
Again, no shame. Listen, play how you want to play. I've been guilty of just flying through a game, like safe stating the hell out of something. That's fine.
Well, I know me, like even before this podcast existed, and I went through a phase. I'm like, I'm gonna beat Super Mario World legit. I'm gonna beat Mega Man X legit. Neither one happened. And I just, like, Mega Man X, I got pretty far, like, just sitting there practicing. But when I got to the Sigma stuff, I'm like, fuck this shit.
Oh, for Super Mario World, you can break the game real easy.
I did, but it was just one of those things where I'm just like, there were a couple games like that where I was like, I'm going to do this, and I just couldn't. I would get tired of it, and that's why I don't do it anymore.
Listen, your enjoyment, your time is precious. Your time is precious on this earth.
It really is.
You should just enjoy things at the level you enjoy them. I think for me, it was like I'm playing Breath of the Wild right now. I'm never gonna get through this game because it's so fun. It's so great. I'm never gonna finish. I'm just gonna live in this world for the rest of my life.
So this must not be the Zelda Breath of the Wild that came out on Wii U, right? Because that game sucked when I played it. So it must be a different game you're talking about.
Well, I keep forgetting it's on Wii U too. I don't know. It's fun. But I'm doing that legitimately too. Like no, very few hints. I'm trying to. Like if it's a shrine that I don't care about, I look at it, and go, fuck this. Just how do I get through this? Give me my orb. Let me move on with my life.
There's
a good amount of that, but other than that, it's
100% going to go back to it one day.
You're going to 100% it? Is that what you said?
Oh, good. All the towers, all 130 shrines. Go for it,
all
man.
908 Korok seeds for a gold piece of poop.
Is that what happens? Because there's no way I'm doing that. I got enough inventory. Let my stuff break. I love it. Break. I don't care about it. I love it. Break it. Whatever. Who cares? I'll get 5 more later.
I like how you brought up on last week's episode about how I used to be at the beginning of the show where I played Darkwing Duck without rewind.
Yeah.
And then this one, I was trying to do like Bill, and I got like halfway through the game, and I turned on like the rookie mode or whatever on the Legacy Collection that makes you take so much less damage.
Do you take damage? Because I actually turned it on for 5 seconds, and I really like the second level or second one. I was like, let me turn on rookie mode, and just so you guys who are listening know, in the Legacy Collection, you can put it on an easy mode.
Yeah. And you still take damage, but it's like a tenth of what you would normally take.
Literally no damage. It's very, it's like the like a superstar in a Mario game where you just go through, you just fly through the level.
That sounds great.
They do, but it's die 7 times, you can get to just skip the level essentially. And no, I turned it off. I was like, no, don't do that. I slapped my own hand. Like, no, play it. Anyway,
it was about this stage too that I'm like, okay, well, I'm clearly not getting all the collectibles because I tried 3 or 4 times trying to get the sub tank here. It's where you have to jump and then dash and then use the flame stag charge and hope.
But not even just jump. You have to jump forward enough momentum, but not get too low. Then dash in the air before you get any lower. Then spin dash or do the flame stag dash. Then as soon as your flame dash ends, you have to hit jump immediately in order to get up the hill.
Right, because you have to.
That's all assuming that you didn't get spotted by a spotlight and the box turret is still hanging on the wall.
Yep, yes. Because you have to go through all those without getting spotted, because that's what you hang on. I was able to get it. I actually didn't have a ton of trouble with that. I remember trying, and it took me a while, like maybe 15, 20 minutes, but I was able to get it and felt like I was progressing. Yeah. It's about 15 minutes, I think.
That's too long. Oh, and the turret's like 3 or 4 pixels in, so you can even jump and hit your head on the ceiling and fall.
Yep. Yeah, no, it really requires that kind of precision, but for some reason I felt hell-bent on getting it, because it's a sub-tank. You need those. You can't.
It's a hard tank, according to this.
Oh, is it a hard tank? I forget. Okay.
Well,
but anyway.
maybe there's the one that I'm thinking of is a sub-tank where you have to do the dash. I think there's 2 different dashes you have to do.
The sub-tank's not as bad.
You almost can't get anything without an air dash. Like, you can't. Like, there's a few things you can. We'll talk about it, especially in I think it was Wire Sponge was the easy ones where you just
they're super easy.
You just walk into
in the level. You just have to
just there.
Everything about Wire Sponge is easy. The fact that you can beat him without using his weakness and just shoot him, and he's an easy boss.
Use his weakness, you cut him in half when you hit that last shot.
That was cool.
So good. It's my favorite thing.
I thought Wire Sponge laughed because the walkthrough we had told us to fight him last, but I'm like, that's just stupid. You should have fought him.
Yeah, he's pretty dopey. That's my walkthrough said final, and he's Wire Sponge is super easy. And I think his level is his level the weather change.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is the deal with the orbs?
You can alter it.
Yeah. hit them with.
If you use the right weapon on them, it changes the weather to what you want.
Okay, because I just broke them. I just kept shooting it, thinking something would happen, and they just shattered, and I went, oh. I figured something was up. I didn't feel like looking it up. I was like, all right, fine, I'll just go for it.
Like if you hit it with the speed burner, turn to that bright sunlight, and all the frogs like spontaneously combust. And if you hit it with the crystal hunter, it snows.
That's neat. I like that a lot. I like when the environmental stuff. I just didn't at that point. I was gunning for the X Hunters, and I figured, it was a little more challenging because, again, the biomes change. You get rain, and of course, rain and wind. It does the thing where it blows you back, and which changes your momentum, and everything you know about jumping for the last 5 hours of you playing this game is now gone. But it's fine. It was pretty forgiving as far as the resistance. There's some tricky jumps that you have to navigate.
Mega Man 7 does the exact same thing in Cloudman stage.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool. We didn't talk about the Magna Centipede boss fight.
We did not.
Oh, we skipped that, huh? Oops.
They wanted to put in another ninja bug like Boomer Kalanger because he can teleport and hangs out on the ceiling.
Really straightforward. He's pretty easy, honestly.
Especially if you use the silk shot to break his tail.
Yep. Yes, I did.
Yeah, once you break his tail, his moveset cuts in half. And then I remember thinking when I was first fought him, I thought him pretty challenging. I died a couple times. But then you realize you can just lock him into just reappearing places. The most difficult part of it is when he goes into the corner and starts shooting those arcing spikes. But then you realize all you have to do is stand underneath him. He can't hit you. And then after 3 throws, he'll jump down. And if you know he throws 3 and then jump down, you can jump up to meet him and hit him with the, I think it was the mine or the spark. I forget what the weapon was. Silk shot, thank you. You just hit him with the silk shot, and that's the end of it. And every time you hit him with the silk shot, he reappears. When he reappears on the ground, just hit him. Like, it's very easy. So he ends up being pretty straightforward once you learn the pattern. But it took me a while to
get if you have the weapon.
If you have the weapon. If not, well, even no matter what you hit him with, he'll disappear. So you really could just do it with an X-Buster. I don't remember what his other armor does, the other weapon. I forget what it was if you don't cut off his piece of the body.
He shoots segments of the tail and then kind of like circle around you. And then
that's right.
So long they'll converge.
That wasn't too bad. I remember that not being terribly bad. Yeah.
He also can grab you and throw you like Boomer Kalanger also.
Oh, that's right. That was the thing that was annoying. Yep.
Surprised they put spikes on the ceiling.
That's it.
Me too.
Anyway.
So next we got our Crystal Snail.
I don't like Crystal Snail either.
I like the aesthetic of his stage, not necessarily the stage itself, but I like the whole crystalline cave.
It's kind of a cool level because you're in a mine, like you said, it's all crystal-y. But that part where I had to go drive that hover tank 30 times to get a damn heart tank, no.
Yeah.
It looks like a Donkey Kong Country level.
I had save state. So it wasn't like, I could just reload real quick, but it took me over 30 tries, and I give up for the night, got up the next morning, said, okay, and I did it, like, second try. But one of those things, I was like, this is bullshit.
That was another one, like, I'm already not getting all the power-ups, I don't even care. I'm moving on.
Yeah, it also had those sliding glass, the sliding ice. The crystals or ice, I guess. I don't know. I
assume they're crystals.
Yeah, that's kind of what that'd be a smarter thing to say. This stage isn't terribly challenging. It's fine. And then the snail himself is, I thought, pretty straightforward. I mean, again, if you have the mines, you can just kind of lock him into you basically lock him on the ground, and you can lock him into, because once you hit him with a mine, he'll throw his snail or throw his shell. Yeah. You just hop over his shell. He hops over you, get on the other side, and hit him again. So you can lock him into that loop. And
I like he takes damage when he flies out of his shell and hits the wall.
I know, that's pretty good. It's a nice touch for sure.
And then, I mean, that was cool. You can knock the shell away from him. I did like that a lot.
And then he uses his stupid charge-up thing and slows you down like a dick.
I never saw that.
That sucked. I remember that now, because after a while, he can there's no recovery from his slowdown, if I remember correctly.
He has to basically reverse it himself.
Okay, because he never did with me, and he got me to a point where I could barely move. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm dead because I can barely move, and I can't jump. I can barely move. I die now, and that's basically what happened. So I think I was able to get him down before he was really able to knock me out that way.
He's a stupid fight.
Yeah, I remember dying a number of times on this guy, and I think I was just able to, like a war of attrition. I was able to just take him out with. And
Magna Centipede's Japanese name is Magna Hylakuliger.
Oh, okay.
No, that just rolls off the tongue.
Exactly. Exact same thing.
I think that's the real name of the bug. Let's find out. I mean,
that would make sense because centipedes don't have tails. I mean,
I don't think it is because when you search Hyla Cooler, you just get him. You don't get anything else. So I'm
weird.
assuming that's just what it is. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's all I got.
no, he's not. He is. I forgot about that whole freezing thing. And what do you use that weapon for? Because you get the ability to freeze and slow things down. I never found a use for it.
Freezing, you have to. Well, you don't have to because there's other methods, but it helps get across spikes and some of the Sigma levels.
I had a funny feeling, yeah, but I never tried it because again, I didn't want to go through those over and over again.
Yeah,
okay.
If you shoot it on a smaller enemy, it kind of encases them in crystal, and then you can use them as a platform.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is charge
the slow thing's useless.
Yeah, okay, that is useless. You have to use that for pieces of the X Hunter levels. Yeah, you have to crystallize enemies to go across some spikes. But yes, so it was useless. That slowdown thing is okay. Which again, I don't like these weapons so much because they seem like a lot of unitaskers. They don't have a lot of utility, So I don't like the weapons as much as I like the ones in X.
We haven't talked about Ostrich yet, right?
No, we're gonna go Ostrich right now.
Overdrive Ostrich like this. I'm a fan of this level. This is a boss I like, a level I like. You get the bike like really early on, or do you start with the bike?
You get it early on. You don't get it right away.
It was cool to have the bike. And depending on how you do this level, you can lose the bike earlier. You can keep the bike all the way to the very end of the level too, which is cool. You just have to be very careful. You need the bike to get a heart tank. Well, no, you don't need it. You can flame stake it too. But if you want to survive, you need it to get the heart tank.
Yeah,
it's tricky.
Yeah, it took.
Yeah, I was able to get it. Yeah, I was able to get it by just dying, by just accepting a death.
That's easier than trying to get the bike over where you need it.
Yeah, because you got to shoot the platforms or the walls to make them rams, and then not hit the sandstorm generator, and know that you have to jump at a certain point to go across these spikes. And then turn around with just enough time to get the heart tank, but not touch the spikes. Intuitive. Like, I mean, how do you not see that?
Easy. Yeah, I didn't realize. I'm actually just looking at a little run through now to remind myself of the stage. I didn't realize you could just dash with that bike. So I just I had no idea.
So that explains why you said it was slow earlier.
It was slow as shit for me because I didn't dash. I just kind of rode it, and I'm like, this is really slow and kind of boring. This is not a fun bike. Oh, it would have been much more fun with a dash.
Yeah, the dash is what makes it good.
That's so funny. I had no idea. I like this level, though. I agree. I like at the very end, you launch onto a rocket.
Yeah, well, cool.
Really cool. Like, for no reason. A rocket, I guess that's only point is to explode in midair. Like, I guess that's what the job was.
I mean, I'm sure there's some like story to what Ostrich is up to because at least I know in the later X games they all have a reason to what they're doing. Like they're all doing something to stop. Like, isn't X4 definitely has a story to what they're doing? Maybe I'm wrong about it, but I feel like
there's little dialogue boxes with each boss when you go into the room.
Oh yeah, not in this game, but in X4.
No, this game is just kind of contextless thing. The boss himself is exceedingly easy if you have. Yeah, exceedingly easy if you have the crystal from before, the crystal snail weapon.
He dies really fast too.
Oh, he's easy because you can just lock him into his jump attack. So you hit him.
His little stupid gallop. Oh no, where he jumps up in the air and shoots the blades down.
Yeah, he does his Joker from Batman. Just not as evil or mean. But yeah, he's really straight. He's really easy. So yeah, he's probably one of the easiest bosses in the game. That you very easily do it without taking damage. And even if you do, you can DPS him with that weapon very, very simply. I do like the fact that he comes from the background. He kind of runs in. Like, that's cool.
Now, he was cool. He was just a cool fight, and you have a lot of room where he can run around into. I liked it a lot.
Well, I wouldn't say he's a cool fight. He's easy, but
that's why I liked it.
That's why.
Yeah, that's probably why I liked it. Yeah.
Get a little bit of. I think it's mode 5 when the sprites kind of contract to make it look like they're moving from background to foreground, something like that.
Okay, I didn't realize there's anything other than mode 7.
I would assume there's at least 7 of them, but just no one ever talks about them.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. I think
there's like 8.
Good point.
Just like I assume there's an episode 8 Star Wars movie, but nobody talks about it.
I have a feeling we're going to someday.
And then the game ends. There is no Sigma fights. There's nothing. The game's just over. Yep, that's where you stop playing.
You definitely don't go through and fight the X Hunters.
The X Hunters were fucking ridiculous. Like, so you get, as like any game, you get the extra fights. You go to the X Hunter base levels, and the levels were fine. Just the 3 X Hunters, because they're different fights than what you would have fought if you fought the X Hunters throughout the stages. Violin is about the same. he just has little blocks that block his mace from hitting you immediately in the face.
That thing does so fucking much damage.
And kill you in 3 hits if you don't increase your health at all.
So remind me of the fortress. Yeah, so
the first one is a fat guy, Violin. I mean, the levels don't matter, they're just levels, but he's a fat guy with a mace that bounces, and he has little blocks that are in the room that block the mace from hitting you depending on where you're at.
Yeah.
The second one is Aegis, I think is his name, right? Or is that it's a little old guy.
Surges.
So real quick before we go through that, the hunter stages themselves are pretty decent. The one thing I remember from the first hunter stage, is that godforsaken robot that pulls the columns, the walls towards you. Is that in the first one?
Oh, I think so, because it's in the intro level too, but they're much easier.
Yeah, that guy sucks. I do not like that fella. I died a number of times because if you take the wrong wall, you lose. That's the end.
Okay, I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah. There's nothing you can do. So yeah, that's kind of the thing with that. But yeah, the first Violin, he I don't remember having too many troubles with him, honestly. I really just DPS'd him because I had everything. I had all the heart containers, and I think I used like one sub tank, and I just kind of DPS'd him to death. I don't think there's anything much to it.
He does a lot of damage.
He does. He's a big heavy hitter. That ball and chain of his is no fun whatsoever.
Unless you turn on rookie mode, then he doesn't do a whole lot of damage anymore.
And what's neat about the game too, honestly, is that you can turn rookie hunter mode on and off. I probably should have just turned it on for Sigma. I thought about it. I should have just done that.
You can also cheese him, I guess, if you just stand next to him with a fully powered bubble shield, and that's it. Just stand next to him.
I also have the power of the internet, where I could just look at the ending and go, "Oh, that was definitely not worth the amount of time I was going to take for that." Yeah, so I guess the second boss, the level leading up to him is pretty nondescript. It's actually really short.
I don't even remember it.
The best way to cheese this the cheese Ares or Surges. That's it, Surges.
Oh, Surges. What the hell was I saying then?
Oh, you were thinking about Final Fantasy VII.
Maybe
Ares. The battle for Surges, you can take out the first front of his ship with the Super Saiyan Giga Crush thing. And then the trick to it is, if you want to make it cheesy, you can use the spinners, the spin cutters, which are actually really effective. That's actually a pretty cool weapon.
Spin cutters. I used the magnet centipede, and this fight took me over half an hour of saving and loading to finally get it right.
Interesting. Once you use Super Saiyan, you can blow out the front of his ship.
Well, yeah, I did that.
Yeah, but then
I couldn't hit him.
Well, the thing is, what you can do is, and this I just stole from because at this point I'm like, I gotta finish most of this for the show. So now it's time to read walkthroughs and what's the recommended way. I ain't got time for this right now because I got a schedule to keep, and I have to get back to Breath of the Wild. I need my veins have not had Zelda in like a week. I'm jonesing. Problem I had with this is once he blows out the front of his ship, he moves forward and he pushed me right off the block. Like, pushed me right off my platform.
I never got that. I had all 3. But I'm watching videos, and they only have 2. I don't know why I had 3 during this fight.
What do you mean 3?
Oh, you have 3 little platforms that you can jump on.
Yeah, I think it was 3. Yeah. He pushed me off. And I was like, you son of a... I know how to beat you. This is not a surprise for me anymore.
Not to mention, there's spikes below him, we should mention. So you die if you fall.
Yeah, if you stand below him, there's a platform that you don't know is there, but it's there. You can just stand below him.
For me, when I stood on that platform, he just wouldn't come down.
He won't. But if you use the charged up
Overdrive Ostrich weapon, it shoots up into the air.
Oh my! I really wish I would have known that. Because I was literally took me half an hour, and I'm not exaggerating, of saving and loading to beat this guy. I could not do it.
Don't feel bad. I didn't use it either. I was using the normal Sonic Slicer, and I was having a hell of a time getting
the centipede weapon that they recommended in my guide.
It's a beast. Yeah, that's why I used that little cheat. It took me a few tries still because you can still get hurt. It's not a complete failsafe, but
he was hard. I had a really hard time with him.
Right,
it made me really hate this game.
You guys didn't fight normal Surges, right? During the Maverick Hunter stages. So he's on this little hover platform dropping mines as he goes back and forth across the stage, and when you shoot him, he puts up a barrier and he does like a spin jump into the air and shoots in all directions. It's pretty stupid.
I saw it. It looked better than what I had to go through.
It's like a bullet hell kind of thing. It's dumb.
Yeah. I didn't encounter him. I only encountered Violin and the third dude, whatever his name is.
Agile.
Thank you. Yeah.
Completely different fight. Like the first form of Agile, you fight him in the stages. He has a lightsaber, and he dashes around. The final level with him, which I do want to talk about the level, but I'll mention the boss fight since I started it, is where he's he's playing Tetris with you, and he's dropping blocks on you, and you just hit him.
Yeah, he is extraordinarily hard He's extraordinarily hard if you catch him in the wild.
Depending how you do it. You're supposed to go, you can apparently go up and sit above him and just shoot him.
Oh, really?
You can just keep jumping on the wall and just be above him because the game didn't expect you to do that, and that's how the speedrunners do it.
That's how I did it, actually.
Really? For again, whatever, Agile. What did I do? Agile, yeah, he's the one that hovers above you with his platform.
Yes.
You can use the magnet mine and just direct it with your controller and direct it and hit him and just shoot him upward. You just stand in place. And you just basically DPS him to death because I didn't even bother moving. I just kept getting hit by falling blocks. And I jumped over the charge shot. I got hit by falling blocks, and I just kept. Cause you can control the path of that shot, and I forget if you have to charge it first and then do it, or if it just does it. No, you have to charge it. That's the charge thing. The charge you can actually direct.
You can direct the regular one too.
Oh, can you? Okay, so it might have been just that then. I just directed it upwards, and I just kept hitting him.
I beat him in one hit.
What's that?
I beat him in one hit.
I did the short. So did you guys get the Shoryuken?
No, I didn't get all the collectibles, so I was not eligible.
Neither was I.
It's terrible.
I know.
Literally, I did, because in the first game, you get all the collectibles. You get the Hadouken in the first game, which is really fucking good. You shoot a blue fireball straight ahead. In this game, you get the Shoryuken, which is a dragon uppercut from Street Fighter, where you jump up in the air and do an uppercut, but I was only able to use, because you don't get the capsule until Violin's levels, where the capsule's hidden.
It's an Agile's level. It's
Agile. Sorry, Agile.
Yeah, Agile.
It's in a really hidden spot too. Like I had to jump off spikes and stuff and do some really bizarre things that took many tries to get it to work.
And then it's hidden in a wall that you wouldn't think to check.
Yeah. Really.
Well, to be fair, Mega Man X's Hadouken is pretty obscure too. Like you really need to have some playground knowledge to know where that thing is. Which is fine. It one shots the final boss. I mean, it should be hard to find.
It's actually good. This thing isn't good. Like I use it on him because he's above you, so it's nice and easy. And I couldn't use it on anything else. Like when I did the refights, I couldn't use it. When I did Sigma, I couldn't really use it, which we'll get there soon. But yeah, it's not good.
Once I found out, okay, sorry, go ahead, Michael.
This stage is the one that has the arrow platforms. Is that right?
You mean the one you have to jump on to change direction? That thing sucks.
This is where I started to get ragey because, for those who don't know, if you've played Mario 3, there's one level in World 7 that's got a very similar platform. But on this one, I don't know, the hit detection is wonky, and I kept falling off repeatedly to the point where I finally just got up as high as I could and then fell off and then used the Crystal Hunter to freeze a bat and jump the rest of the way.
That's how I did immediately.
Done.
I hate that thing. As soon as I realized that was the mechanic, again, you're right. It's the same thing as Mario 3. I said, there's got to be another way. And the first one, you can get up there. It's tricky, but you can just jump up to the one that you're supposed to use the platform for. And then that final one, yeah, I just froze a bat, jumped up there and said, thank you. And called it a day. Yeah, I hate that thing. That thing sucks. But that's actually good level design. The level, it gave you a mechanic. It actually gives you a safe place to learn how to use it. I learned that I hated it. I'm like, I learned I hate this. It won't let you progress. It really won't let you progress. I mean, you can actually progress that entire section without using that thing. You can use the fire dash to get across one thing and air dash. You don't need to use it. But it introduces it and says, here's a thing you can play with. I jumped on it. Look how this sucks. And then I wrote it up because I could get to go upwards to the next level. And then I tried it a few more times. Oh no, this sucks. And that was the end of it. And I just said, I'm like, there has to be a different way. And there is. So that's good level design. You hate this thing we gave you, just do it the old fashioned way. But it's also teaching you're supposed to be able to also use that, I think, to get up to you can also use it to get the Shoryuken, but you don't need to. You can just freeze a bat and get up there and get a free life immediately. And then just drop back down and continue on with your life, which means you never have to restart.
No, you got to get to the next stage, where Mike's favorite part in every Mega Man game lies. And
I don't like refights. I really don't. They're stupid, and this is a game where I was not excited for it because I didn't use the weapons that much. So I was like, I don't want to do any of this. It wasn't enjoyable for me.
Well, let me first tell you a tale. Can I tell you a quick story before it is pertinent? Sure. So here I am. Now I'm playing on the Switch. Now, the beauty of the Switch, of course, is that you can just stop where you're at. Right? You don't have to rely on the saving. But of course, I'm saving throughout. My 4-year-old now is into Mario Kart 8. He's actually getting decent at it. He's actually finished level. He got third place. I turn on the easy steering and all the easy stuff. He's 4. So he goes, Daddy, can I play Mario Kart 8? So I turn on the Switch and I see still playing, right? Again, Mario, Mega Man Legacy Collection. I'm like, if I turn this off and let him play Mario Kart 8, it's going to close that application. I've saved. And that probably means I have to go back and I have to recollect all of my, weapons, buy all my, refill the sub tanks, that whole thing. I did that in the Dragon Tank, by the way, because Dragon Tank's awesome. If you stand on the hull of the Dragon Tank and just farm that first turret for items and for pickups, it goes from day to night as it goes forward.
Huh.
And you'll never know. You'll never know that if you go inside, because you go inside and you never leave. It goes from day to night. It's so cool. I realized like that's cool touches. Those are the cool things Capcom does that just reward, I don't know, just pushing at the edges. Like what happens if I stand here for 5 minutes? Anyway, so fine. So I let him play Mario Kart 8. He's having a blast. I go to play it last night. This is last night. I pop it in. I load the save. And it starts me from the very first beginning of the Hunter X stages.
Oh.
I have to do the first 3 stages and bosses all over again.
I don't blame you.
Even though it says saving after every victory, and it gives you a new code, right? Like the code, the 16-digit
password,
code, password. It doesn't start you. It doesn't start you at where you left off. I did not start. And
it should be saving like your life total and how much energy you have in the sub tanks.
It doesn't do anything. It doesn't save your lives. You start over at 2. Your sub tanks gone. I knew the sub tanks. I know that's how the game works. It's always worked that way. You don't save your lives. It's like Mario. You never save the lives that you have after you save. It's stupid. I don't know why they do that. Mario Galaxy, same thing. It's a relatively modern game. You still do not keep your lives you've collected. You have to wait for the stupid Toad to come by and say, hey, here's 5 free lives. Thanks. Could you just let me keep the ones that I've had? Can I just keep the ones I've collected through hard work and determination? No. Just give me 5 free ones because you know you stink.
God. Get your shit together, Miyamoto. Like,
seriously, I don't
you want to make it in this world.
Seriously. You want to be something in this world, kid? You're going to have to get smarter than that. No, come on. So I had to do last night at 10 o'clock Central Time in Austin, Texas, a sad man played through the first 3 levels again. I had that moment. I looked at the screen and I said, do I just have to watch this on YouTube? Am I just going to have to watch this? Like, do I have to do this? And I said, no, I'm going to do it for the show. And I restarted the first 3. I did them. I got to this point to the boss rush. And Mike, I am with you. High five. Boss rushes stink.
Yes.
This mechanic always stinks. When games do it, it's bad. Don't do this game. Because it's padding. You know what this is like? What did I say earlier? Bosses are like tests. Final bosses are final exams. What they are. Mini bosses are quizzes. And those things should be testing you on the things you've learned through the point of the game. Through this point, you've learned things. This boss should now teach you or test you on the things you've learned. That's why Mario bosses are bad. They are bad. Sorry. I got in a big argument about this. We had this very minute.
I think we've had, yeah. I agree with you.
Mario bosses are bad because they don't teach you on anything. They don't test you. So what this is like, imagine sitting down for the final in class. And they say, all right, we have the final coming up. But before you take the final, let's take every single test before the final. Let's test every single, you have to pass, let's pass every single test. And you have to do it in all one shot. You have to do it in all one go on one set. If you fail any one of these, you got to start over and take all the tests again. It's not enough that you already passed these tests and quizzes. Let's do them again, and then you can take the final. It's not fun. It's not good. It's not challenging. It's not engaging. It's padding, and it sucks. I'm with you, Mike, on this. Boss rushes suck.
It's just not. It's my least favorite part of. It doesn't bother me in some Mega Man games, but it bothered me in this one a lot.
Every single Mega Man game.
Really, in 3, it bothered me the most in 3.
Even in Mega Man X, it's not good. I might have mentioned it then. It's not good. It's not a good mechanic.
Yeah, they're kind of throughout the stages. They're mixed in. Like
I'm okay with that.
Man.
Yeah, and that's decent. I mean, that's fine because at least you have some space between them, and you can even make the argument they reassembled the Robot Masters to take you on one more time. Whatever. No, I still don't. It's just a holdover from early game design where you had to do things like that to pad out a game. That's just what it was. Like Mega Man 3 and 4, they had boss rushes if I remember correctly.
3 does.
3 has it. I'm sure every single one. It's kind of become a trope of the series. You got to fight all the bosses again. We can just let that go. We don't have to do that anymore. ActRaiser. I played ActRaiser recently. It's a lovely game. I enjoyed it. The last boss, it's a boss rush until you get to a final boss. Don't make me do this again. I've done it.
Will someday be on the show.
I like it. I think it's a great game. I really love that game.
Never
Anyway,
played it.
I've now. So all you gotta say about this level is you fight bosses again, and I don't even think there's new context to it.
There's not. Other
I mean,
than
there's
the
a couple
spikes
stages.
Well,
spikes on yeah.
Bubble Crab has spikes, and Flame Stage level's a little bit smaller. That's it.
And the ostrich, his level is freezing because you're on the North Pole. By the way, we papered over. You fight, and the final fortress is on the North Pole. Weird choice.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. The ostrich stage is frozen because you're on the North Pole.
I did not put. I guess I didn't give a shit at that point. I was just like,
oh no, I was looking for some sort of fun and joy in the misery. But again, you have all the weapons now. You kind of know how to fight them. Even the early bosses, you have more power. Right, you have more power-ups. So I got through it.
Why is Morph Moth back in his cocoon?
Yeah, that's a good question.
If you're going to rebuild the boss, build him from the advanced form.
Yeah. Even if like the other boss, they had different context, I could see it. Or maybe they were slightly augmented where they did different things. I could see it, but
that
just to give you
extra effort.
Right. Why would you? We have the patterns programmed. Let's just put them in the same thing. Anyway.
Surprised they're not palette swaps or something.
I'd even prefer that. If I'm ever on a show, you're gonna hear the same rant again. So if your brain listener, if you're like mowing the lawn or something, whatever you do in December, I'm in Texas.
Oh, I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, oh yeah, I forget you live in the warm place.
I'm in Texas. It's 80 degrees outside. I could do some weed trimming right now.
I should do raking as I'm looking outside all my leaves, but I'm like, I don't give a shit. So
raking sucks.
Anyway, I
Anyway,
don't rake either. That's a problem.
Raking, I don't know what's worse, raking or boss rushes. I don't know. I think
they're both the same monotony.
Same monotony. At least I get some exercise when I'm raking. So maybe raking's better. All right, so let's paper over the boss rush. No one cares. And then we fight Zero. Yes, if you haven't collected the parts.
You get the 3 parts and you skip this fight, and this is the Zero fight is just it's really like I had a hard time with it, and then I watched a speed run where the guy literally just stood in front of him and hit him with one attack over and over again. That was it.
I just DPS this, just damage.
You can cheese it. I forget what he did, but he stood right in front of him and just kept shooting him and jumping, and nothing happened because there's a way that you trick the AI into doing the same thing over and over again.
Okay.
And nothing happened.
Yeah, I didn't. I just basically relied on my sub tanks and just hopefully just basically sub tanks, and the fire is his weak point. You can actually, if you go toe to toe with him when he's shooting his regular beam, if you do the fire over and over again, it will stop his.
That's what it was. He kept doing the fire. You're right. Okay.
And you just stop it, but then you run out of fire, and then
I beat him with the X-Buster. So
I almost said you run out of fire, and then you're toast. Hey,
I just used the frickin' Buster because I have problems like that. So don't do the fight with the Buster. Not recommended.
Even before you get to the boss, this is what we alluded to earlier, where it's the first part of Magna Centipede stage again.
Yes, that's right.
Up until the weird wired frame saber part, which is the room you fight Zero in.
I don't understand why they reused it when you're clearly going to a different building, yet they just reuse the same exact thing. It really bugs me.
And I didn't even think of that. I didn't think of that because you're at the North Pole.
Yeah, it's
right?
not the same place. Looks like the same place. But they just I guess like maybe what Mike said earlier, where they ran out of memory. They're like, we're going to reuse what we have.
But it's the same. It's not even that. It's the same. It's like the same level. Like you're doing the same challenge.
Yeah, everything's the same.
It's very, very strange. Yeah. And I remember because I blew through because I played that level 50 times beforehand. So I was like, oh, this is cake. I know how to progress in this, but why? Why do you do that? It doesn't make any sense. And here's the joy, and here's where Mega Man X exceeds Mega Man X2, especially in this point, is that Mega Man X2 or Mega Man X, the approach to Sigma was very challenging, very hard. You have that refill section where you can just sit there and you can farm and grind the bugs, refill all your sub tanks, refill all your stuff. Because of course, in Mega Man, if you fail the first time, you start over with nothing. So you get that refill section. When you reuse this, there's no refill section. So you have to fight Zero with nothing, no sub tanks. And if you fail at any point of these, you fight all 3 again, which is another Mega Man trope that needs to go away.
It's bad. It
needs to. And I know it's the same way Mega Man X, you fight Sigma, you fight the dog, Sigma, and you fight the final form, and you have to do all 3 again. But at least you can refill. So what I did was after I failed once, I just went to the block drop, let a block fall me, kill all my lives, get me out of there, and then go through to another level to go to my beloved dragon tank, go to my beloved dragon tank and refill, and then go back up, and then I was able to continue. But based on my experience with the saving not working the way I would expect it to, when I went that level the first time, I went, oh no, like, did I get a bug where I'm now starting over at this stage? So I just went forward. Luckily, I didn't just stop and go, I did. I actually reloaded the game. No, I didn't reload the game because that would completely ruin me. No, but I kind of just like went forward, and then of course you get the zero thing. It's like, why would you do that? It makes no sense.
Yeah, I thought that was stupid when they make you refight zero again if you die. Like, come on, at least let you start at Sigma Wolverine fight, not zero again.
I do like Sigma Wolverine.
Sigma Wolverine was cool. I mean, I like Sigma Jedi more in Mega Man X1, but Wolverine was cool. He wasn't. You can cheese him too, of course, but it was cool.
Yeah, it's the same thing. You kind of have to get him on this. You can't fight him toe to toe. Really fast, really challenging. Again, I forget what the special weapon that does. I don't remember. It's the cutter, and the cutter is actually pretty good because it's again another slow weapon. This game loves its slow plotting weapons. It doesn't make sense.
It's a cool fight. Like, I didn't have a problem with the Sigma fight. It's the final Sigma fight where I was ready to just quit this game. I got to the end and I was ready to be done.
The final Sigma, so the first Sigma fight, and Michael, I'll let you chime in on what you thought of these two, but the second one, I just kind of just DPS'd, and there are some things you can dodge, and I used that cutter. It was cool because that cutter will bounce around all slow and stupid, but he'll run into them as he's dashing back and forth. So you have a better chance. But again, I burn a sub tank on that. I burned like one or two, and then you get to the final one, which is Wireface, and Wireface is a royal pain in the ass. But Michael, I want to get your thoughts, Michael, on kind of these bosses.
First of all, you guys talk about the zero fight, and it's all gibberish to me because I got the pieces. So I didn't
you actually did that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Zero rushes in and destroys the copy, like the actual Zero.
That would have been nice.
That's pretty cool. But I like Wolverine Sigma, as we put it, because he basically just has Spark Mandrill's weapon, where he shoots the electric balls at you and shoots the line of electricity.
Yeah. The line isn't too bad to dodge. I felt when he throws you, if he gets his claw to you and throws you, I think he does that, if I remember correctly.
Probably.
Yeah, but I just felt like I had to just DPS him and use those cutters. And then finally you get the face, and his only thing the face does. And one thing I do like about bosses is within the actual boss fight, they'll change tactics halfway through. And I mentioned this. Yeah. This is a tactic I don't like changing. This really sucks. His only real tack is to hover above, shoot a laser that you can really only dodge if you use your air jump effectively. You can dodge that and get around them. What's the name of the weapon? These so nondescript. I always forget what they are. I think it's the snail one. It's the one strike chain. Yeah, that's the one he's weak against.
It's the only thing he's weak against. The only thing that damages him.
And that's
I hate that in boss fights.
That's the same trope in Mega Man X. The Sigma's final form of Sigma is only damageable by the octopus ball.
Mega Man 2 started it.
Armadillo ball.
I always said that. I remember the entire X. I kept mistaking Armadillo ball with octopus. Octopus is the heat seeker, which is a good weapon, as opposed to the not good weapons in this game. Yes, but anyway, he's only susceptible to that or the charged up fully X Buster, which is so hard to pull off if you're constantly fighting enemies. He throws two enemies, you have to destroy them. You sometimes get a pickup, which is neat, but you don't get him nearly enough to warrant that kind of time tax. So here's my story. I'm at him. I fought him twice. And as you fight Sigma Face, he changes color. And that signifies how much damage he's taking. He's going from like green to yellow to red. And when he's red, he starts jumping on you and trapping you in his wire face that you then have to jump around and try to escape from. It's really hard to avoid that. I don't know how you guys
You're
fare.
Supposed to just let him grab you and just time your charged up shots right. And you can hit him pretty quickly and take him out.
While you're inside him.
Yep. That's what you're supposed to do.
Oh, okay.
I know I didn't. He also... For fun fact, he can take 3 shurikens. I gave him 2 in the face, and he turned red, and I couldn't get another one off on him.
Wow. Okay. So I got him to red by doing the old-fashioned way with the snail. I'm on my last sub tank, last thing of energy. I have like a few more shots of the snail tongue, and I'm thinking I got like 2 more shots. I got 2 more, and I died. He killed me. And I looked at the time. It was 11:30 at night. And I looked at the screen and I said, I've gone far enough. So popped on YouTube on the TV and I watched the last. It was, again, I literally had like 2 shots left. And I'm like, you know what? I've achieved what I want to achieve. And that was the end of it. So I did not finish this game legitimately. I got 99% of the way there. And I'm like, you know what? Good enough. I don't need to go through 3 bosses again. I don't need that. That's fine.
I mean, that's what I did for when I was playing Legacy Blood Omen 2. I got to the final boss and the game froze. I said, well, we're done.
That's it. That's all I need.
Blood Omen 2, right, Mike?
Yeah. From my hospital bed. It was great.
You never did beat that game. Never will.
Nope.
Don't need. Sometimes you just don't need to.
I've experienced enough of it.
That's like me with. I had a very similar experience with Bravely Default. Have you guys ever played?
I beat that game.
You beat that game. I did not, because the one thing I hate in games, again, another side, I don't want to do a show on Bravely Default because I'm not going to play that game again. Enjoyed it. It's fine. Old school. It has so many lovely slice of life, quality of life stuff. I love the way it approaches grinding.
We're not going to play that either.
It's great. I love it. Yeah, I love the way it approaches grinding, and the battle system's fun. The characters are fine. One's very creepy, very questionable. But anyway,
ring a bell.
Yeah. But then when you get to the point, spoilers so I guess fast forward a minute if you don't want to get spoiled on Bravely Default. When you get to the point where you think the game is over, and then it tells you got to play the game again and again and again, and you have to do it evidently for the best ending like 5 or 6 times. Yeah, you basically play through the game again. Now, mind you, you're powered up. It's easier. It'll take you like an hour to get through each one. Screw that. Don't make me play through things again. Give me new things to do. I stopped. I'm like, that's it. I'm done. I watched the end on YouTube. I'm like, the fairy's evil. Not worth it. Great. Bye. That was the end of my experience with Bravely Default.
Speaking of refights, you have to fight the last 4 dragons, 3 or 4 different times in a row.
No. Yeah, you have to fight them over and over and over again. And they slightly change. Like the first couple times you can pretty much get through them pretty fast. But then they change and update, which makes them more challenging. No. Don't make me do the same thing over and over again. And they try to, now it's 2 minutes. They try to, everyone's different. Like, as you fight each boss, they kind of, they change. They change their personality, which is neat. But just the gameplay loop of doing things over and over again, it just sucks. I'm sorry. No story is worth that.
That being said, I'm really excited for the second one coming out on the Switch.
I won't even touch it. Don't even care. You've ruined. You've had your shot, Bravely.
You don't like playing a game 10 times to get 10 different endings? What? 13 different endings?
What kind of game would do that?
The game that I'm actually playing at the moment, even though I shouldn't be. But any last? So after the hologram fight, you get a little ending, which again doesn't matter. You just run off into the sunset and wait. The base blows up and Zero shows up.
Yeah, Zero hangs out with you.
So Mega Man ending.
Yeah,
it's a very Mega Man ending. Zero shows up. You enjoy a nice sunrise together. Aw, you and your good bro. And then
I always thought Zero was a woman at first.
That Harold get you.
Yeah,
it
especially
when
as
I first was a kid.
We mentioned that during, I think, Mega Man X. Yeah, as a kid, you probably thought he was a lady, but no, long hair dude. And that's Mega Man X2.
That it was. Also, talk about reusing assets. The background from the X Hunter cutscenes is also in Magnum Centipede stage.
Oh yes, that's right. It is, and that's right.
The first thing you see when you go on the stage.
Well, that's right. I remember this now because when I first came across it, I went, "Ooh, I'm in the area where they're at. That's neat." And then it's like, no, I forget this. There's no context. You just go through the level, and you're like, "All right, that's right."
Should we go on to questions, comments, or memories?
Yes.
Only if you read the super important one.
I'll get to yours. But I actually posted this in 5 different groups, so there will be. I'm going to read through these fast because I actually got a lot of comments for this game. I was not expecting, so I'm going to try to read some of these, the ones I liked. First, from the Mega Man fans group, in Corby Hall, was favorite game as a kid, maybe get into Mega Man. Wow. He must have not played very much other games. From Eric Douglas, it was the first X game I ever owned. The first X game I played was X1, but I played it on an emulator. Mm-hmm. Okay, great game. Hey, how we play X1? Just play it. Jacob Reed, I think it's superior to X1 personally. I think the music and environment, it feels more technology deeper and it's a really fun speed run. If you can beat it, that is. Okay.
I'll give them the technology thing. So like we said, that had the extra chip that gave the wireframes that they used twice. That is kind of cool.
Yeah. The game looks gorgeous. I mean, I don't know if we didn't really dine too much on the design of everything, but because again, most of the guts of it are Mega Man X, but the level design looks great. Again, like I said, I love the one, the robot graveyard. There's a variety in the levels. The level design, I think, actually might be a little better. Again, there's no Storm Eagle stage.
Yeah.
But
I mean, there is a dragon tank.
X4.
You do get Storm Owl.
X4. They reuse Storm for some reason.
Yeah. Did you say, Michael, that's your favorite X4?
Yes.
Okay.
We'll get there someday.
We'll just plot on through. I'm not gonna. I'm just let me know if you want to do it. I won't play the X3 or X4.
X3 is coming. It just might not, unless I can convince someone to change a pick. It won't be until sometime after June.
That's fantastic. That's great.
I know another game with 3 we could change, Mike, if you want to.
Anyway. Anyway, so that's that's he's right. The technology is really neat. It's a beautiful looking game. So
from Jose Picon, X2 is an excellent game that kept the level of X1 in every way, and this was not an easy task because Mega Man X was a game that marked its moment. Crystal Snail and Magna Centipede are amazing mavericks. Okay. Okay. I guess you like bugs. From Andy Kamalason. Really good game. I only played it on the X Legacy Collection because, of course, the game is rare nowadays, but still an excellent game. I debate it's better than X1.
You can make that argument. Honestly, you can make that argument.
People do. A lot of people did in these comments. I just think they're crazy, but hey.
No, I don't think it's crazy. I think it's an iteration. It depends on what version you like of the game. I personally prefer X because it's balanced and I prefer the characters more. We'll get to sum ups, but you can make that argument. Absolutely.
Taste is subjective, so
yeah.
To each their own.
It's not me. From Jason Corral, I like this one. Rented this one many times as a kid. Wish I got it when I saw it at Funkoland. Didn't finally beat it until I had the collection on GameCube years later. Hey, at least you beat it. It's a hard ass game. From Andrew Mercedes. Favorite game of all time. The music and just the overall atmosphere of the game is just so great. Okay. Here's one for you, Mike. From Andrew Hoskins. My favorite game in the X series and quite possibly my favorite Mega Man game of all time.
Woo.
Lofty opinion, man.
Yeah, I'm going to immediately backpedal about everyone having separate tastes. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy.
And I got only 2 comments from the Giant Bomb group, so I'll read those real fast. From James McKeever, my dad has some of the NES games when I was growing up, but I remember this being the first Mega Man game I wanted. Just seeing this cover always reminds me of planted in front of the TV, sitting on top of my coffee table while Mom cleaned the house around me.
Oh, that's a cool memory.
We haven't mentioned the cover yet, but the cover is him on the bike in Magna Centipede's level, which he does not have the bike in Magna Centipede's level, and it looks cool, though. It's a cool cover.
Yeah.
Magna Centipede is a very cool design. He looks really, I think, I forget if I complimented him, but I'm actually thinking about him more. He's a really cool design.
It's probably my favorite design of this one.
I got only 2 comments from the Overblood group this time. Come on, guys. Come on. First one from Michael K. Hughes. He gave me the poop emoji. That was almost the only comment. The only other comment I got was from Aaron Cooten. Good game, good music, good action. Shame it followed up an amazing game and has thus been snubbed a lot over the years. X1 through 4 are all really enjoyable, but should have ended there. We shall see.
Yeah, that's what I understand. That's a common thought. Yeah, that X they should have just stopped after X4. Yeah.
Yeah, 5 and 6 are rough.
I was looking at the video for 7. And I really, really want to play 7 now.
Oh God.
I have a thing for games I was just watching it for some reason. I'm like, ooh, this looks entertaining to me.
All right.
I like bad games too.
Good luck with that, sir. Good luck with that. Y'all have fun. I mean,
you're coming back when we do the rest of these.
I'll come back. Listen, you know me. I will do anything for a show. But again, if it's like those are the PlayStation ones, right?
Yes.
5 and 6 are
5 and 6
4,
are
5 and 6.
4, 5, and 6. So
7, 8 are PS2. 7
are they on the? But they're on the Legacy Collection, right?
Yeah. So Legacy Collection 1 is 1 through 4, and then Collection 2 is 2 through.
Oh, okay. I'll buy it. Okay.
5 through 8.
All right. I was gonna say I could emulate it, but maybe I'll buy it.
You can.
I'll do it legit. Why not? I'll do all these legit.
I'm not gonna buy all these, but without save states, I'm like, no, I'm good. I'll buy it just to have it because I want it for my collection, but I would never play it that way.
But you could turn on rookie mode.
If I would have known that existed, I don't have the X collection yet.
Yeah.
I also don't have. I need to fix my Xbox One, but that's a whole other thing. I own the Mega Man,
as Bill said.
I own the regular Mega Man Legacy Collection on 3 different systems, so I own it on PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
I've got on at least 2.
All right, I have one last group to read questions from, the Super Nintendo Super Group. I got a ton of questions, so I apologize. Comments. I apologize. I won't be able to read all of these. From Gary Mitchell, X2 is my favorite X game next to X5. X2 soundtrack.
What?
I don't know either. X2 soundtrack and opening intro makes it sound you're about to go to war with the X Hunters. So hey, some people really love this game. I mean,
and 5 apparently.
Well, we'll talk about Shelf or Box, but yeah, I mean, and the soundtrack's great. I mean, I think there's one song in it that I have to. It's like a loop, but I think it might be one of the Sigma. I keep saying Sigma stages. It is a Sigma stage.
Sigma stage.
One of the Hunter stages. When you're starting at the very beginning, it's like a base like a 10-second loop, but it has this really cool like on the 2 and 4. And I actually sat there last night listening like that's awesome. Like that's a really good. It's like one of the intro loops. So yeah, the soundtrack slaps. It's fantastic.
And this one from Cliff Gardner. Happy to say I'm a proud owner of this complete inbox. Love the series from the jump. Great mechanics, secret platforming, everything. Can remember playing this with my buddy for hours, smoked out of our mind, not being able to beat the damn ostrich.
you got the ostrich.
It's a good
that's
one.
Funny. The ostrich is the one I had the least trouble with.
Gary Mitchell, when you use the X Crush on Surge's second form and just destroy his machines, it's one of my favorite video game moments in that Hunter stage that we were talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
From Mike Locklear, so epic. From the bike intro to finding and taking out after many, many attempts, the X Hunters all the way to the end, unforgettable sequel. Okay. We'll take it. Yeah. And from Andy Burnside, I wish y'all could have been there. I'm a huge Mega Man fan, and I am in a Mega Man group where someone was putting together a Zero model that came in like separate parts, like arms, leg, chest, and head. To which my comment was, "Oh, I put that together once in Mega Man X2." I kind of like that. So.
That's cool. That's good. I'm wondering if this sounds like it's like an actual thing that they're creating.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this
that's
one's
cool.
Chris Foster. Sigma appears with Zero, and you actually have to fight him. 12-year-old me was shaking in my Reeboks.
Lucky you had Reeboks. I like the knockoffs, man.
From Stephen Bailey. Great game. I paid £7 for it about 15 years ago. At the time, I didn't know it was that rare. That's a good deal 15 years ago, too. Like, that game. Rare.
That's amazing that's amazing this thing is so rare now. That's interesting.
Okay, and from Soren Morkel, defeating Sigma with the Dragon Punch was so satisfying. That is how I first completed the game. You have to hit him 3 times with the Dragon Punch to finish him, though. So I'm impressed, sir.
That's impressive. Yeah, I mean, that's cool.
All right, now this is the last one I'm going to read from Antone Thorne. This bomb-ass cover art always made me want to keep replaying this game every time I looked at it. It's
interesting, but guys talk about the cover art, and that's the thing that we forget about, especially in the days of now emulation and legacy collections. We forget about the box art. I used to collect I think at my mom's house, at some place in the bowels of my mom's basement, I used to keep all the boxes to everything. So I have Donkey Kong Country boxes. I'm sure I have a Mega Man X box. So I probably have all these cool boxes. Next time I go there, I'll have to hunt around there.
I regret I didn't keep boxes of stuff back then.
We kept manuals and boxes.
I kept manual. I didn't keep boxes.
Giant shoebox of manuals. Yeah,
I've got a binder full of manuals.
I have them in a biohazard bag.
This is coming out next week, I guess. So if y'all want to listen to a podcast next year, there's a little show called The Gamer Looks at 40, where one of my first interviews for it, I'll talk about it a little later. But he talks about one of my guests talked about he grew up in Hawaii, and when he was in Hawaii, he didn't have a lot of he didn't have the Nintendo Power or any like the knowledge of like what the new game was. So he would go strictly off a cover box art. He would go to the store and that's a cool box. And buy it just based on the strength of what it looked like. It's a pretty cool little story that you'll hear on the show.
That's what you had to do back then. That's why some of the weirder box arts from back in the day is like, who's gonna buy this looking like this weird thing?
Yeah.
Like what's the real Phalanx on Super Nintendo?
Phalanx,
it's got the guy with the banjo.
Yep.
Totally evocative of what the game represents.
No, nothing. Yeah, it's a pretty decent shoot 'em up. So yeah, good comments.
All right, I think we should go to Shelf or Box.
Indeed.
And I'll go first. We'll get the negative out of the way. And I'm putting this in the box. I loved Mega Man X1. Part of it's nostalgic. I have no nostalgic for this game. I didn't enjoy myself. I mean, it was way too difficult for me, and I don't like really difficult games. I want something to be where I can... If I'm playing with save states and I'm cheating, I shouldn't have a hard time. When I'm having a really hard time and I'm cheating, then I have a problem with the game. Because I'm already cheating. I'm already cheating because I want it to be easier. And you're making it hard. Oh, then you irritate the hell out of me. Part of it, I wasn't playing it right. The guide I had didn't give me the right hints to do what I should have done for some of these fights. That's on me. But overall, I just didn't really enjoy it. It's no X. It's a good game. I won't say it just wasn't a game for me. And it wasn't something that I'm glad I finally played it because now it's out of the way. It's been on my backlog for over 20 years. I've been meaning to play this game and get into the series, but I never did for some reason. I don't know why. But I'm glad I beat it. I'm glad it's done. Going in the box, and I don't need to play it again. How about you, Mike?
Would you say it's the Dark Souls of Mega Man games?
I like Dark Souls.
Wait, you like Dark Souls?
Yep.
You are a man of many facets. I don't. Yeah. Good for you. Good. All right. Not imagine that.
Yeah, no, I really like Dark Souls for some reason.
All right. Go for it, Michael.
Unsurprisingly, this is going in the box. Like, as we talked about in the yet unaired Mega Man 3 Mini that we recorded forever ago, which
that doesn't come out till March.
Another fun paradox for you. I don't know. These tough as nails classic games that I used to just breeze through as a kid, I just don't have the reflexes for them anymore. So if I want to play a next game, I'll play 4 because I know it's still good because I still play it every so often. And I don't need to play this one again because it was frustrating.
Yep. How about you, Bill?
This is a very, very easy shelf for me. This really is. This is an excellent game. It's a well-designed game. When you guys are talking about challenge, it brings up a very interesting conversation about what makes challenge good versus bad. For me, it's always if it's fair. If it's fair, right? So when these bosses, for the most part, are very well designed, in that I know there's a solution, but I don't know what it is. And I'm okay with that. And also as I'm really trying to get myself away from resorting to the easy way out. Not saying it's bad if you do, right? Your experience is your experience. You enjoy it the way you enjoy it. Right. That's not a knock to those who save state. I've done it numerous times in my life, and I got very close here. But it's not a knock, right? But I'm trying to allow myself to have what I call non-optimal experiences, which means I'm not doing this perfectly, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with getting into a place with less energy or less tools, etc. If an enemy presents me with a challenge that I can know, okay, there's a solution. What's the solution here? And I don't know it, I have to be okay with that and not blame the game for my lack of understanding. I don't think anything in this game there are some moments that in this game are, I think, unfair. That are too challenging. I despise the Mega Man trope of the boss rush and having to fight 3 different end bosses again, not getting your health back. But that's all tropes of the genre. And that's just the game. That's what you get with the Mega Man game. I just feel like this game, as far the little things that put it below X for me. I don't like the weapons as much. I don't think the bosses are as memorable. I kept screwing up their names in this game. I just don't think the bosses are as memorable. I do like the additions, but for me, X is just a better game because this is an iteration as opposed to an improvement, and because I don't think it's really possible to improve upon X. I'm curious on X4, because if X4 is indeed better than X, that's now my favorite game, because X is my favorite game from a subjective level. I do think there are games that are better than X, right? But from a subjective level, personally, I like X better. I just think nuts and bolts, I still put X above it, but this is an excellent game, and I'm going to put it on the shelf proudly next to X, just a little below. X is on a pedestal. X gets to go on the shelf itself. It doesn't go on the little pedestal.
That's why you went last, because you had positive things to say about this game.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's again, I'm not the one that I'm like you guys. I don't have time. I'm 40. I'm 40. I got 2 kids and a wife and a job and other things going on. So I don't have the time I had when I was 12 to blow through these things. But I really felt like kind of giving it the real college try, as they say. And I had a really enjoyable time doing so.
Oh, completely off topic thing that I just want to mention. As we're recording, I'm looking at 3 deer standing in my backyard right now. So yeah.
That's the most interesting thing to happen this whole episode.
That was good. And I'm sitting here and Bill's talking. I look outside. I'm like, oh, that's a deer. And I'm like, oh, that's 2 deer. And every time when I see animals and I take a picture of multiple animals, I want to hear, does it go great? Or how does it go, Mike? Say it?
Wonderful.
Yeah, that's what went in my head. I'm like, I got to get them all in one shot so I get bonus points.
You were close.
I love the fact that every time I start talking, you just nod off and go elsewhere. Like you're just like, oh, Jesus Christ, Bill's just.
Oh no, I just looked out the window because where I'm recording it, my desk is right next to a screen door. It doesn't have any curtains yet because I need to get curtains. So I just moved here and I just looked out and there were just deer standing there in my backyard. I'm like, oh. Okay.
Hey man, you're the man with audacity right now. You can just cut and edit away.
I don't edit any of that.
I know you don't. It was just insane because I listened to it. I'm like, oof, man, you could have cut half of this out.
I cut ums out. That's about mainly what I cut spaces out.
Yeah. Man. All right. Very good. But I enjoy the game and thank you for prodding me to play this because I did a genuine good time.
Don't worry, X3 is coming later this year.
I'll be back on X3.
Right on.
We'll cover the whole X series at some point, maybe. I want
that game has the seahorse as one of the bosses.
It also has 0 playable in X3, I think, too.
Kind of. We'll talk about it.
Okay, 4 and completely playable, I know.
Yes.
All right, and I think that about wraps up anything to say about X2. I think we should introduce what we're going to be talking about next week. and I'm going to introduce it.
You bet.
For celebrating episode 100, which I can't really believe I made it this far, we are going to be talking about Chrono Trigger, my favorite game of all time. So yeah, I cannot wait to dig into that game.
Wow, so we had Bill's favorite game on this season, and we have yours, and then the week after we have mine. That's
Chrono Trigger's an all. What, yeah. What's yours?
You'll find out next week.
Oh, okay. Teaser then. Very good. Chrono Trigger's an all-time great. It's a good one for 100. It's a classic. I prefer Final Fantasy VI from a subjective, personal.
Same.
6 is really good, but 6 is also longer. And at the time when I put Chrono Trigger on the list, my other two co-hosts at the time would not have been okay with a 35-hour game. They were barely okay with the 18-hour game, so that was part of it. It's a lot.
I mean, that's a trek. I mean, that's a real trek. I mean, yeah, Final Fantasy VI is just a tough one, and you'd have to do it in 2 or 3 chunks. Like you could. I know you don't do that, man. I don't know how you can do Chrono Trigger in one chunk. Oh, you're not gonna go beat by beat, so that's fine. Chrono Trigger's a great. Again, I prefer Final Fantasy VI from a subjective level, but I have actually compared the two objectively in like a critique style article, and I think Chrono Trigger's guts is just better in most respects. But I just enjoy Final Fantasy VI more. That's just personal opinion.
Amazing game. Chrono Trigger is just also a smaller game. That's partly why it's on the show first. Spoiler, but most likely episode 150 will be Final Fantasy VI. Most likely.
Man. I would love to be on that because I can say I've played through Final Fantasy VI probably a dozen times. It's
so good.
Never found General Leo though. Never found General Leo.
He's not in the game.
I know that's a joke. That's
I was gonna say, like, he's not there.
I've tried. I tried to get to, was it every character level 99 with all the things and all the tricks back in those days of not fake internet, but like early internet, with just all these theories. I had to get General Leo. Tried them all.
Man, you gotta get Shenlong in Street Fighter, and then Mew in Pokemon, and do the stop and swap, and that unlocks General Leo.
That'll work. All right, very good. But yeah, no, it's looking forward to that episode, man. That'll be a fun one.
It'll be a while. And then
I was saying Chrono Trigger.
Chrono Trigger. That won't be much longer. Yeah, that'll be a good one. It'll hopefully be under 3 hours. We'll see. We'll see, Mike.
Yeah, we'll see.
I originally was planning on making like a 4 or 5 hour episode, but that plan got squashed unless it happens. But we'll see. I'm going to try not to because I don't want to edit that.
Do it as a 2-parter. 2-parters are fine. Just do 2-parters. It's okay.
Maybe. But the problem I do 2-parters, they come out the same week still, so it just means we record all of it in one sitting. So we'll see.
Oh yes, you have to do that.
We'll see how it goes. And Bill, so why don't you give a shout out to your podcast that isn't out yet, but will be out soon from the time of hearing this?
Yeah. I keep mentally pushing out the release date. I'm thinking mid January it should be out. It's the show is called A Gamer Looks at 40. The way I see it, in 40 years, I'm probably going to be dead. Yay. Hello. Good evening, everyone. But that's okay. I think it's fine. That's what's kind of what life is about. And as I'm turning 40, the year 2021 will be my 40th year on this planet. I've been kind of indulging in nostalgia, and I don't really do that. And I discovered that, there's lots of pieces and parts of my life are wrapped up in games. And I figured, why not do a podcast where I can tell some of those stories and share stories from other people I've met along the way. So it's called A Gamer Looks at 40. It's a year-by-year retrospective of the history of games as told through the stories and recollections of the very people who lived it. I've already done a few interviews. It's going to be friends, family, fellow podcasters, streamers, journalists, people I've met along the way. And hopefully some few surprises as we move forward. A year-long retrospective. Every episode is a different year with some special ones along the way. Kind of still seeing how the structure is going to be, but it's interesting. For example, one of the episodes, I interviewed my best friend of 30 years, and we had a whole 10-minute conversation of how we saw The Wizard back in 1989 or 1990, whenever it was, and it's great. And that's the kind of stuff, even the stuff that you had in your comment section. Someone was talking about reminiscing about how they were a kid, in their Reeboks playing this game, and that's the stuff this show is all about. So, A Gamer Looks at 40. Check it out in mid-January.
Pretty cool.
So not that long.
If you want to hear more of me, I'll be on this show again next week.
Very good. And Michael, you will, because you're around my same age, so I'll probably be hitting you up to do interviews. And Mr. Mike, you're a younger lad than I think.
Not by much, but yes.
Yeah, so you'll be on one of the later shows when I start doing interviews for the SNES era, PlayStation era.
I'm Super Nintendo and PlayStation 1.
I'm gonna have way too many people on this the SNES era. I'm having a hard time finding people I know from the 8-bit era that actually were there So those will be a little on the slight side, but yeah.
And if you need more Mega Man, we covered Mega Man X in episode 85. Recently, we covered the Mega Man comic, the first 6 issue, which not enough people have listened to. Let the game begin. So check that out. And we also covered Mega Man 1 and 2 in episode 26, 25, somewhere around there. So check that out.
Powered up? Is that out?
No. What are you talking about?
Okay. Never mind.
And very quickly, I feel bad that I've been dunking on the lore of Mega Man, considering you've been promoting this show to the Mega Man fan group. I'm sure they love the lore. Guys, I apologize. I don't get it. And I'm sure there's a really cool lore here that's hidden. So
December
it's
3rd.
neat that you talked about the comic, because I'm sure that's part of it. So
it's powered up, by the way, Mike. So shortly after they hear this episode, which I did not time it correctly, they'll be getting Mega Man powered up.
Cool.
A lot of Mega Man, and then no Mega Man for a while.
But X5 is still bad.
We're going to play it. Because that's what we do on the show. And if you enjoyed this episode, we're currently going through the MCU movies with this same group of people. And we are just about to release Captain America the Winter Soldier here later this week. So it might even be out when actually the week before you hear this. I forget, time paradox. So that will be out. So definitely check those out. We've been going through the MCU. We also do comic episodes. We do game episodes. There are over 98 different games you go listen to and more because the mini. So definitely check out all those episodes. Actually, not all our games. So maybe about 98 games. I don't know. There's movies. Just go through the damn catalog. You know, you probably know it if you're here. You're still here. Also want to give a shout out to our awesome intro and outro, courtesy of Bubby, aka Mike Stoney from his EP Bite to Put. Songs the Cool Kid Squad. Definitely check him out. And follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. I need more subscribers on YouTube, where I just post this podcast in video format with no video. So hey, and people get upset about that. And people get upset when they look for the Thor movie. And it's not the Thor movie. They give me thumbs down because it wasn't the movie on YouTube.
You're not missing anything.
I put podcast in the title. If you can't figure out why it has podcast in the title, like, oh, this ain't the film. Of course it's not the film. Because they would shut me down pretty quickly and put the film on there.
They sure would.
I mean, that's what Disney Plus. It's $6 a month. Just sign up, watch your movie, watch Thor Dark World one time. You'll forget it existed and you'll be okay. All right, this wraps up this episode. I thought it would only be about an hour, so we will see you all next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
So close.